I'm.
I don't. This is stupid. Are you ever tempted to just like chew on it?
Oh yeah, I do it. Literally, if you watch some of the videos with Dawson, I'm just like,
Dude, when I used to have like an actual headset for gaming, before
yeah?
like I switched to having like the mic I have is like one, I had like the gain turned up pretty good so I can have it like totally out of my way because I just didn't like having the thing in front of my face. But like when I had the actual wrap around from the ear, the amount of times like in between lobbies, I'm just like sitting there just like slobbering up the.
Dude, I know. It's like, did you ever see that I don't know what the reel now where it's like they're making fun of the airline pilots and this guy with a gaming headset and he's just like puts it in his mouth.
You can't understand a word.
I freaking love that. But
so my brother is a helicopter pilot.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's sick.
And anytime, well, actually I say anytime. He's been flying from the time he started his first lesson till now. It's been like 10 years, 12 years, something like that. And
how old is he?
He's 20. He started when he was 18. He's like 29 now. So
that's so cool.
But anytime I said it again. I've been in the helicopter with him one time.
Yeah.
In all the years, I've been in there one time, which you'd think would be more, but it's just, he'll like go on the radio and he's talking to like the flight towers and all these things. And I swear they're just making stuff up.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way. Because he's like, Alpha 9 requesting, and like you can't, it's so jumbled.
Yep.
And he explained it to me. He's like, it's one of those things that, yes, it's jumbled because these are like sending radio frequencies across whatever distance.
Yeah.
But he said it's just one of those things that like you say something and you kind of know what you're going to hear back.
Yeah.
And when you know what to listen for, it's easier to understand. Yeah. But I'm still not convinced. Yeah. I think it's like the pilot's way of being like, we're better than you. Yeah. And so they have this like made up language where they're like
pricks.
Yeah. They're like, we're gonna make you think that we're
they're
talking.
Just saying that line from Incredibles, like the Indian Golf 909 checking in. It's like, okay, Helen.
Absolutely.
So what is it? Is he a commercial helicopter pilot?
So he started off if you look, does your mom have like a box of just like
go on.
Does your mom have a box in the attic of just like Jeff's things that's like pictures from kindergarten, science fair projects? If you look through my brother's box of belongings, every picture he ever drew, every story he ever wrote, he is the poster child for fulfilling a lifelong dream.
That's kind of awesome.
It is. And so he went through whatever training, building up the hours. It wasn't pilots. I guess it's pilot school, but it's kind of like driver's ed. Like you take some like ground school, and then they're like, all right, hop in the chopper. We're going for a ride. And they go up with you, and
you're allowed to fly?
So you basically start like the instructor teaches you things, and then he kind of hands the controls. It's like there's like two sets of controls essentially.
Yeah. So like, same like as the driver's ed car. Like they got the brake and everything.
Now it's a little different because there's like whatever joystick is like between your legs, and then there's the one over here. There's like two. I'll call them joysticks. Gotcha. That's what I know them. They have official names.
Yeah.
But eventually you get to a point where you're like, all right, you're clear to solo fly, and you can go rent the helicopter and fly around and build hours. But then there's certain things like getting like your instrument rating where you have to be able to fly blind essentially, and you wear these little goggles that like shield your eyes.
Really?
Like these goggles that cover your eyes, all but this like tiny little window here. Yeah. And they basically just allow you to see the controls.
Okay, this is probably incredibly unrelated, but I've been watching shows, and they're like new cartoons on Netflix, and there's been like 2 shows that I've watched now where they have these goggles with little slits in them, and I just thought they were like homemade sunglasses. Would that have any correspondent to that?
I have no idea.
I don't know. That was super random, but it just I saw those recently. I was like, maybe.
What show is this in?
The one might have been Arcane. I'm not 100% sure. Like the Legal Legends show.
Was the guy a pilot or?
I don't think so.
It could just be like a steampunk style
Probably.
Although then again, that could be like an early form of like sunglasses before we had like lenses that were dark. They were just like they gave you like there's just less surface area for sun to sneak in.
Yeah, that would make sense. Or would it enhance the light?
It's isolated. I have no idea.
Okay, but well, it would be like a camera lens, because a camera lens mimics an eye. The less light, like, because you would close the aperture.
Yeah.
Which lets in less light.
Yes,
it may. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, we'll move on from it. Yeah. Who needs it?
So anyways, he went through whatever needs to happen, and he does now have his commercial pilot's license.
That's sick.
However, there's not much that can, like, be done with, like, a fresh commercial license. It's kind of like, all right, really? Congratulations, you're a licensed pilot, and there's no jobs available for you. Because
have fun playing Battlefield.
Yeah, everything's about hours.
Yeah.
And a lot of... So, in what I've talked to him, one of the things that he's always mentioned was getting into the world of, like, medevac type stuff.
Oh, yeah?
But those pilots, they're usually required to have, like, 3,000 hours, which is really, really expensive to get those kinds of hours on your own dime. So...
Because you're renting the... Goodness.
I know that there are, like... Prices have definitely gone up in the last few years, but, like, I know there were times where he said, like, yep, just got 2 hours of flying time in, so wrote a check for, like, $900. Like, it's hateful.
No.
So a lot of times those like medevac pilots end up being like retired military, because they have all those hours on someone else's dime.
That makes sense.
So he is working for a crop dusting company now.
Cool.
And he's not. Again, it's all about hours. So he's not a pilot for this crop dusting company. He's hired on as like a. Hopefully, I become a pilot. So he starts.
What's he doing?
He is driving a pickup truck. They just put a bunch of switches and controls in the truck so you feel like you're flying. But no, it's essentially they want the pilots to know what's going on the ground. Okay. So this pickup truck has all the chemicals that they would mix, has a fuel tank on it. And the way that he builds hours is, let's say the field that they're contracted to work on is an hour from their warehouse or their headquarters. He would fly the helicopter to the job site. Pilot would drive the truck, and then they'd switch. And then so he gets an hour of flight time there, an hour of flight time back. So that day he got 2 hours of flight time that counts in his logbook as hours that he flew.
That's sweet.
So they build hours while you learn the rest of the process, because they don't want the pilot up there not knowing, because like they also have to have all the certifications to like mix those chemicals and use those chemicals. And as a grounds crewman, it's just easier to get those certificates and learn the process.
That makes sense. Dude, two random thoughts from that. I just saw Dawson, bean farmer, he has a contact that just bought a drone to do all of his planting.
I think he was telling me that they have a drone that
it's insane. The thing's huge. And
it's got like 8 props on it.
Yeah, and it's massive. But it wasn't actually that expensive. It was like between 30 and 60 grand.
Which is a lot, but when you think about the commercial usage, like 3 jobs and you've paid for the thing.
But apparently, like it doesn't have a large fly time. It can plant like 1 acre, but it plants it incredibly quick.
Yeah.
Like it was like, it had a fly time of like 10 minutes or something, but it could plant an acre in like, I could be wrong on those numbers, but it was a very short fly time.
Well, and I would assume that the operating cost of a drone is dramatically cheaper than the fuel cost.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's battery powered. I'm assuming it would be.
It would have to be, I think.
No drone would be, the engine would be too heavy.
That, and I feel like you'd be way too close.
Yeah.
Do they make gasoline powered drones?
I don't know. It would have to be a Mamba though.
I
feel like you.
I think at that point you.
Okay, obviously, like the big like military drones, obviously, but nothing for just
because
hobbyist.
No, it has to be a battery powered, because the one that my brother said that they use or that he's seen, I forget what it was, but like he told me like the cost of the batteries, and it was like unholy.
Freaking devil's money.
Yeah. It's like buying 20-volt DeWalt battery.
Dude, insane. Yeah, freaking tool batteries are getting out of hand. It's kind of pissing me off.
Well, and the fact that like they can go on sale for like $80 off. Like, and you know they're still making money. So what is the markup?
Dude, it has to be hundreds of percent.
Yeah. And some of their tools are like, you can't use anything less than a 9 amp hour on this thing. It's like, okay, so I need two $250 batteries.
Dude, and now they're making like demo saws that are battery powered, and it's like the battery's like this big, it's like $500.
Well, and Milwaukee has that like, it was like the XC or whatever. They like it's or the X Nano. I don't know. It's some crazy name.
Must make them big.
It might. I don't know if it's like a 40 volt system or something. But I think they're like switching all like their lawn equipment over to that.
Yep.
But
dude, the tool industry.
What can't you get battery powered now?
Dude, honestly, nothing. Like everything's battery powered now. Like you can get a battery powered dog. I'm pretty sure.
Is there anything in your life that's not battery powered that you wish could be battery powered?
Honestly, no. This is random, but I switched to a battery powered weed whacker. What a game changer! You don't need to mix 2-stroke gas. I feel like, okay, now I'm getting on a tangent. This is nowhere near Barber, which I do want to get into that.
We don't have to talk about it.
Yeah, but I do want to a little bit.
We can, but
I feel like 2-stroke engines are going to go extinct. Not extinct, but like, what's the word?
Obsolete.
Obsolete, yes. Because all battery stuff is replacing the 2-stroke engines. And it's like...
people used to like the 2-stroke stuff because of the torque that it made, but like... Battery just
it's instant torque.
Yeah,
it's instant.
It is.
You press a button and it's there.
That and like I steal Chad's weed whacker from the shop all the time because I don't have a place to store lawn equipment yet, so it's easier just to steal his. And what I love about the battery powered weed whacker is my neighbors have like a 6-foot privacy fence, and while it's on my side, I still try to be mindful to not like chew their fence up. And what I like about the battery-powered stuff is I can sit there, it's off, it's not spinning, and I can like hold it at the perfect angle, tap it, and just let the blades kind of make like a couple rotations, and they just clip the very edge. I can get it right up against the fence. I'm not sitting there just grinding their fence to pieces. Yeah. And it doesn't stink. It doesn't leak over your shed. It doesn't rot out the floorboard. Like it's just...
Yeah, you don't got to worry about mixtures of oil and gas, right?
That and the lithium technology is like, I would say you could own as much as like an acre and still get away with battery-powered equipment and not need to own an absurd amount of batteries to like get through it on a single charge.
Yeah, so this property is like 1 3/4 acres, and I can weed whack everything. And, like, there's a decent amount of trees and stuff and, like, the stream. And I can weed whack everything for, like, 3 times before I need to charge it.
What do you have?
The DeWalt. And then I just put the 60 watt or whatever, 60 amp or not amp. I forget what it is. 60 watt?
60 volt?
60 volt, yeah. Okay. 60 volt battery on. And it's, like, it's so nice.
What are volts, watts, and amps?
Dude, I did know at one point. It's all different... how to measure electricity, but I don't actually know what is, like, I don't know what's the difference.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because
I feel like that's probably like a pilot thing, like where it's just like they made up a language so us common folk feel stupid.
Well, then they can charge us $1,200 to change a receptacle out, and they're like, well, it's 20 amps, so you got to be careful with that.
I had to take a whole new line to the breaker, and then from that I had to, this receptacle right here, and then I had to take the flux capacitor. It's like, okay, shut up.
Well, because amps would be like, that's like a unit of like how much something draws. So like, I guess that's a measurement of like, I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm trying to relate this to like
energy once, and it was delicious.
What's that?
I drank an amp energy once, and it was delicious. So volts are what kills you. Low voltage.
No. It's the other way around. Because they always say it's not the voltage that kills you, it's the amps.
Really?
Yeah.
No, because like car batteries, that's a 12 volt, super low volts. But the higher you go, like house is 120 volts, and that's more likely to. No, because you might be right.
Yeah.
Because you're more
high volt, low amp is not as dangerous as low volt, high amp, I believe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, there's a gray area in between there, but.
I mean, we can look it up.
I don't like getting shocked regardless.
Oh, dude, I freaking hate getting shocked. Being an electrician would suck.
Getting shocked is funny when you expect it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you do the whole thing, you grab your buddy's hand and grab, like, the cow fence and zap him. But, like, when you're changing out a switch and you chose not to turn the breaker off and you grab the hot and...
But I do, speaking of getting shocked, I want to experience a taser really bad.
I have one in my truck.
No, you don't.
I do have... It's not like a police taser, but I have a stun gun in my truck. I've done it to myself.
Like, not the actual shooting one, just like...
No, it's just like you hold it and you hit the button.
Oh, nuts. Dude, we should do that.
It's 50 feet away. I can...
Yeah, go get it. What the heck? Go get it. That would be hilarious. Holy, dude, don't even show me that thing. Oh, dude. Okay, so the difference between amps and volts, amps measure the flow of electrons, while volts measure the force that makes electrons flow. So by that definition,
it's almost like
I
horsepower and
nothing.
torque. Yeah.
I don't know. All right, let me see that thing.
So
why do you have this?
Okay, that's everyone's first question when I mentioned that there's a stun gun in my truck, which isn't a frequent conversation topic, but it comes up. I was at the Great American Outdoor Show in Harrisburg.
Classic.
And there was a dude standing there, and I heard the zap. Everyone knows the sound of a stun gun, and it's hatefully intimidating. And as soon as I heard it, I turned around.
Yeah.
And I was like,
oh no.
What are you selling those for? He goes, 15. I was like, 100? He's like, no, $15. I was like, yeah, give me one.
You bought a stolen stun gun, dude.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's like pretty crap Chinese junk, but like when you feel it, like if you were a woman walking through a parking lot, or if you were the man trying to attack a woman walking through a parking lot, I feel like the sound alone would be like, all right, I'm good.
I'll go rob another one.
But if it wasn't, it's powerful enough to be like, all right, I'm good.
Yeah.
But like, I'll do it in the microphone here. This isn't going to damage the microphone.
As long as you don't hit it. Oh my, that sounds so big.
That sound alone is so horrible.
Oh.
But it has a flashlight built into it, too.
Yeah, that's nice. That way
it's hard
you can see the shock and the burn it makes.
And it's micro USB rechargeable, so you can keep it topped off. And yeah, we'll wait till we get warmed up.
Let me see it. Dude, it sounds bad.
It sounds so intimidating.
I'm even scared to press the button. Wait, do I need to push this up?
Slide the switch up to the second position.
Dude, I don't like
it's everyone's really excited about it and willing to do it until they hear the sound.
That's so how many, what is this? Is this how many volts or amps?
I tried to look up specs on it, but it's just Chinese. Like, if you go online and look them up, they're all just like imported, and they say like 1 million volt stun gun self-defense, protect your, like, they have those like classic like Chinese translated Amazon descriptions.
Yeah.
So I
don't
know. I don't know the spec sheet on it, but I do know.
Did you shock yourself bare skin? Or did you go through clothes?
I did on the jeans.
Oh, so dude, like, you freaking wussed out.
How
bad did that hurt through jeans?
I feel like,
am I gonna pee myself?
No, you're not gonna pee.
What if I do pee a little?
As long as it doesn't bleed through, no one will know.
Yeah.
Plus, you're sitting.
I'm sitting down. I just got so sweaty. I'm so scared.
I don't even know. It's like a really bad pinch.
Oh, dude.
But like, there's nothing to really describe the feeling.
Oh, I know.
And what's even harder is doing it to yourself.
Yeah.
Because I like just held it there on my leg, and I was like, all right, you can do this. And then you like go to press the button, and your thumb just like won't do it. And so the way I had to do it was like hold it with one hand.
Yeah.
And then like with momentum, like swing this hand into the button. Because my other fear was like, what if I press it against myself and then I can't let off the button?
Yeah.
And then I'm just stuck there zapping myself. So I was like, at least if I like swing and tap it, gravity will pull my hand out of the way should I lock up.
Yeah.
But it is, we'll sit on it, but
yeah, just for a little. Oh my word!
He said I'm sweating.
I want to do it so bad, but I'm so scared. Awesome.
What if we like brought your wife in to tase you?
Oh, dude, no. I don't know if she could. Like, I think she would be like, no,
she
I
would
can't
feel
do
too bad.
Yeah, I think she would. She's great. God,
you found a good one.
Salt
I
of
feel
the
like most wives would be like, hand it over. Let me tase my husband.
But dude, so we did like dog shock collars before.
Okay.
And there, I found out, like, it's the one we used was like a range from like 1 to 100. You could shock the dog. So if you have like a smaller dog, it'll recommend a certain range, and then a larger dog, nothing recommended 100. And I found out different spots of your body hurt significantly more. So like we were doing it on our arm, like bare skin, and we're like, oh, like you tense up, and you're like, okay, that's fine. And then we're like, well, dogs wear these around their neck.
Oh no,
dude. Literally put it up to like 80, and I was like, okay, like, because we did 100, and I was like, okay, I can take this. Put it up to 80 on the neck, and just instantly it was just and my neck spasmed.
Were you the one controlling the remote,
No,
or was
someone else was.
So they were just messing.
And dude,
that's like
for like 2 days, my neck was just like tight.
Did you ever see that like Ross Creations guy on
Yes.
YouTube? Did you ever see the one where they like put the guy on like the VR headset? And they were like, here you have to wear the neck thing too. And they put a dog collar on him, not telling him that it was not part of the VR thing.
Yeah.
And then every time someone would like slash him in a video, like he was playing this like fighting game or something. So every time he would get hit, the one guy was like there in the background just like zapping. The guy's like, oh, it's so realistic.
Dude, that guy has some hilarious stuff.
Well, and what I love about his stuff too is that all of his video titles sound like clickbait.
Yeah.
But then you watch it, and it's like, no, he did exactly what the title said they were going to do.
Did you see the one where they put the bear in the house?
Yeah, they call it Exterminator.
Dude, that was freaking awesome.
He's like, yeah, I think I got like a raccoon back here or something.
That's a bear. Dude, sometimes I wish I would do stuff like that. But
or like the honk if you love the devil, and Jesus is in the trunk of the car.
It's so classic. Or I saw the one where they put the cotton candy in the wall, and the
insulation.
Yeah.
I want to know what like.
Hey, move your mic. You're actually booming right now, so just move it away. Yeah, beautiful. Right.
How are
there.
we now?
Yep, perfect.
I have to wonder like what their brainstorming sessions are like because the ones that we see are just the ones that made it to camera.
Yeah.
So there's some outlandish ideas getting passed around.
But like we would get sued if we would do this.
Well, there was one video, I forget what they were gonna do, but he literally has like his lawyer on speed dial, and they were getting ready to do something ridiculous.
Dude, I saw that. That was the one where they drove up on the truck.
He's like, "Hey, what's the legality?" And the guy's like, "As your lawyer, I'm gonna suggest you don't." But imagine having so many interactions with the lawyer for dumb things that like there aren't laws against. So like they really can't press charges, but you've been through it so many times that you just have your lawyer on speed.
Yeah, like do you think the cops in that town are just like, all right?
They have to know.
Yeah, it's like, all right, dude. Like,
if you were in legal trouble, do you have a lawyer that you would call?
Like me personally?
Yeah.
No.
Because like
you?
No.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No, I say that because like.
No,
you see like movies and TV with guys like, I'm calling my lawyer. But like, I wonder what percentage of people actually have like a picked out lawyer. Like,
I don't think a lot.
Like I have a customer that I know like deals with like underwriting and stuff like that. So like, if I was in a situation, I'd probably call him and be like, hey, who do I need to call about this? And I would trust him.
Yeah, but that's your one call, dude.
Yeah, but I also would trust him to like
work on your behalf.
Yeah. He's that type of guy. But like
I don't know if I know a lawyer.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, my girlfriend's brother's wife is like a paralegal.
Okay. That's close.
And so like
That's like Rachel Zane, dude.
But like,
Suits
I don't
reference.
know her. Oh no, I watched like 5 seasons and then I figured out the
Dumb joke. Never mind. Scrap it.
Sorry. Cut that one out. Clip that.
Yeah.
But like even though like I don't have those numbers memorized.
No, dude.
And I don't. Do they give you your phone to like look up a contact?
I don't think so. Because wouldn't that be? Well, depending on what you would be in for is like probably evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah, but maybe I should.
Like I have like my parents and siblings numbers memorized, but
my Uncle Bernie, like just call him. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be library card number in there somewhere.
Just calling your school librarian.
No, it's not their phone number. It's just my library card number.
It's like this isn't doing anything. It
says the line's been out of service for 40 years.
Yeah, dude, maybe I should get a lawyer. I don't know. I don't.
Well,
really
I
feel
think
like
about that sometimes. Like, not that I'm out there breaking the law a lot, but like, you know, even just in like a self-defense situation, like
when you nail someone
like
with
when
that
I use my stun gun at Sheetz parking lot
on freaking Darnell. Oh man, dude, yeah, that's crazy.
I don't even know what the legal ramifications are of like zapping someone with a stun gun.
I don't think there's probably not that much, as long as it's in self-defense. So like, do you have your concealed carry by any chance? Okay, so like I don't yet, but I was looking into the non-lethals because I think I would actually get pretty mentally fricked up if I would kill someone.
I would agree.
And I was just
not that I'm agreeing with you, but I've agreed that would mess me up too.
And I was like
if I keep a fish out of water for too long, it kind of like goes limp. Like that hurts me a little bit.
So I was like, okay, well let's look into like non-lethals because it's just like the rubber balls,
or even those like pepper balls that they have now.
So I was looking into them, and you don't need a concealed carry, and they're legal in all 50 states.
You can open, you can conceal,
and I think it's like, as long as it's a non-lethal, the rules get very laxed. I mean, I'm sure you would still like maybe get like disorderly conduct or some shenanigans, or like assault with a weapon.
Well, and that's the thing, because there's assault with a deadly weapon, but in that case, it's non-lethal.
Yeah, assault with a non-deadly weapon.
And I think we fortunately, but also unfortunately, we now kind of live in a world where like you can't really go anywhere and not be on camera.
Yep.
So if it is true self-defense, there's probably a recording of it somewhere that would show.
Mary's got her camera out just freaking filming.
Well, all the Ring doorbells even. Like anything happens in the street, there's probably, I don't know what that would be a fun thing to know about how many out of 1,000 houses have Ring cameras.
Dude, a
like,
lot.
They're
everywhere.
Like dime a dozen nowadays. That like there's no point in not having one. Do you have a Ring camera?
No. Our doors are unlocked all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
Hear that, guys?
Yeah. Luckily, they don't know the address.
I'm going to say your address online here.
You know what? Just give my social away as well. Last 4 of the social. Yeah, I don't know. I should, but I have weapons, so come on in. Did you see the freaking videos? These I love. It's where they hook the Alexa up to the intrude alert.
Yes.
Dude. And they're like, Alexa, intrude alert, and then it starts playing Fortunate Son by Creedence Clearwater
My
Revival.
buddy has his house set up. His house is, everything's connected.
Yep, just keep talking. I want to make sure
this all the lights in his house, the TV, everything that can be smart is smart. Even his washer and dryer are connected to Wi-Fi.
No way.
Not even connected to Wi-Fi. This is what's crazy. He has them hardlined with an Ethernet. I don't know why.
He's getting 1,000 megapixel download speed on his wash.
I don't know what. Because, like, you got to be there to put stuff in and move it over to the other. So, like, I don't understand. The only reason to have Wi-Fi connected to those appliances would be it's done.
Yeah, it just tells you when it's done. But they make an alarm for that just goes ding.
But regardless, he has it set up that if he says, like, hey Siri or hey whatever it is, just making sure I didn't engage my own Siri there.
All of a sudden, all the lights go dark.
He has, I forget what it is. It's like intruder alert, or like, he's a gamer. It might just be like Bravo 6 going dark or something. But whatever he says, all the lights go red, and then like
the
Star Wars, the like
on.
no, the Imperial March, like Star Wars
sick.
theme comes on.
That's cool.
And like honestly, if I was breaking into a guy's house and the Star Wars theme came on, and like I just saw like a cloaked figure, I'm like, never mind.
Lightsaber just
Here's my wallet. I'm gonna get out of your hair now.
That's awesome. Yeah, stuff like that is so cool. It's so fun. Smart.
He also has something like, I forget what the word is, but like he has a mode for like,
dude.
And
you gotta have that.
It
Marvin
like
Gaye
dims
mode.
all the lights and starts playing like Careless Whisper with like the saxophone.
That's classic.
That's
That's
so
actually
good.
sick. Because what is a better way to get in the mood than that?
Absolutely.
Like,
well, and I feel like it's also so funny.
Yeah, that's
that, like,
hilarious.
What woman could tell you no in that moment? Where, like, you went to that trouble to program that? Like, yeah, it's all.
Yeah, that's like, all right, respect. And then the washer and dryer starts going.
For some white noise.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, dude, smart technology in homes is kind of wild.
Yeah.
Like, I just went to buy a fridge the other day.
Did you see the one with the glass on the front? Yeah.
Dude, it tells you, like, what's in your fridge. It's wild.
Well, I don't know. The one, it's like see-through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, so the one I was looking at, it's see-through, but then it also scans your fridge, or, like, you input what you have, and it tells you when you're out of stuff.
That's wild.
It's kind of freaky. Like, that's just pumping radiation into your food. Like, it's literally x-raying your food and like, okay, you got eggs. And now you have stage 4 cancer.
When I bought my fridge, I literally went Long and Eckers down the hardware store, and I was
Dude,
like...
that's where I went. Let's go.
I literally said, I was like, all my appliances are stainless.
Yep.
I just bought a house. I don't have that much money. I was like, so give me, like, best bang for your buck, stainless, just standard, fridge on bottom, freezer on top. Give me what you got. And he's like, I got this Maytag for $750. Done.
Yep.
And then, like, I walked around. I was, like, looking at the other ones, and I'm like, $4,000.
Yeah, dude, it's insane.
Well, I guess I was telling my brother this story back at the time, like, how crazy expensive. Like, well, and I talked to people, and they were like, don't spend that much money on a fridge. They were like, doesn't matter which one you buy, in 10 years you're going to need another one. And so my brother apparently had the same conversation with his wife because they were at like a Lowe's or a Home Depot or something, and they still have an apartment, but, you know, in the near future they'd like to buy a house. And she was just like wanting to look at fridges and couches and just dreaming, right? And she was like, oh my gosh, like how cool this fridge is. You can like open it up and it turns the light on. And my brother was like, what would be the benefit of that? And she's like, well, you know, like what if I like get up in the middle of the night and I'm like sleepy and it's dark and I wanted like a glass of milk or something like that. Like I could like just tap the fridge and the light would come on and I could see to get the milk. He's like, or you could open the fridge and the light would come on. And she's like, yeah, but like, and he was like, in that moment, she just like didn't have a response. He's like, no, like you don't, dude, you can't argue this one.
It's insane. Like it's gone too far.
It has.
It's nuts. Like,
I don't need AI to scan my fridge and tell me when I'm out of butter.
Yeah, dude. And like now even like it's into the like plumbing world, like toilets. Like you walk into there was a house we went into and you walked into the bathroom and the lid literally lifted and like lights came on and it was like, dude, what? And then it filed your taxes while you were taking a dump. I was like, dude, what is this thing? And it was like $6,000. And it's like the funny thing about that is like, hey, this one flushes your poop for $100 and this one flushes your poop for $6,000.
Well,
it's like,
and there's also like a certain point. I watch these guys on YouTube that they've been like remodeling this like house from like bought the property, tore the house down, building it, and I just enjoy watching all that stuff. But they have this toilet, and don't get me wrong, it looks sleek. Yeah. But have you seen these ones that are designed where like the tank and all the mechanicals tuck in behind the wall, and then there's, you know, mounts that hold the toilet up? It looks awesome. But when you have to service that service now becomes a plumbing issue, an electrical issue, a drywall issue. So it's like you're tearing trim off, you're cutting holes in drywall. So it's like what might be a simple like undo the fitting, put new pipe dope on it, redo the fitting in my house is now a 1 week ordeal because you've got to refinish drywall, you've got to paint, you've got to like
you got to redo your foundation.
When you have to turn the breaker off to like replumb your toilet, you've gone too far.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, it looks sleek, especially like
they're sick.
Because it's, they were designing like a bathroom, like, what are they, I don't know if they call it like a wet room or whatever.
Yeah.
Basically, every surface in there could get covered in water and it would all drain.
Yeah.
And everything's glass, everything's tile. It looks killer.
Mm-hmm.
But now I guess if you have the money to do that, you probably just pay someone to come re-plumb drywall, like
Yeah.
But
let's just say those people know lawyers.
Those people, their favorites list is like wife, mistress, lawyer.
Yes. Yeah. Dude, it's crazy. But yeah, no, it's insane. And it's getting to the point, like now there's faucets where it's like, it's touchless. Like you don't even need to touch the thing.
Yeah.
But then it's still got a handle. And I'm like, well, what's the point? Like, I don't get it. Because if that breaks, then you still got the handle, I guess. But it's like, I don't know.
So when I bought my house, it just had those like really cheap
when
plastic.
did you buy a house? That's awesome.
Did we not talk about this?
No.
Back
I haven't been
April.
in for a cut in a long time. Look at this thing.
Yeah, I know. It doesn't look bad. It looks like you've been trimming it. Or someone.
Yeah, I just trimmed this right here. But I didn't trim it good, and then I still got it like real long. I just tucked it in right there. You never know.
No.
So,
well, and it keeps the flow going on.
Yeah.
Because then once you start trimming out all that, then you got to blend it more.
And I can't do that.
Yeah. But yeah, I had all those just like cheap plastic, like contractor grade toilet seats. And the other week, I put like nice, like, I guess, I don't know if they're ceramic or some type of poly or whatever. But they have that like soft close.
Yeah.
Which
they're
is
nice.
sick.
They're nice.
Part of the reason that I replaced it is because I was patching the wall beside the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
And it was annoying because I was trying to sit on the toilet seat to patch the wall, but because it was the cheap plastic one, it kept like, they like shift off side to side. So I was like,
you fell in the toilet.
Well, no, it was just getting annoying because I wanted to have like, I didn't want to like kneel down in beside the toilet. So by replacing the toilet seat, it gave me a seat to sit on while I worked on the wall, and it made my toilet seats nicer.
Yeah.
Problem is, though, I'm so used to like walking away from the toilet and just like tapping the lid.
Oh, yeah.
And it closes on its own. But then like I go into work where we don't have soft close and I slam toilet seats everywhere.
Yep. That is a real thing. Yeah, dude. Oh, my word. My one buddy has a house, and I installed the toilet, and it's like something's whack with the seat. So you'll put the seat up, and then you start doing your business, and it falls midstream. And it's, dude, I've never done. I've sprayed his bathroom. I was like, whoa, and had to clean it up like twice. I was like, this thing sucks, and I freaking installed it. But whatever, he doesn't need to know. Who cares?
I feel like the hinge points on toilets are like fixed positions. Like I don't even know if there's like a way that you can.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a faulty toilet seat, but now I'm in the office, so I don't do that stuff anymore. After that, I was like, I peed all over myself. I don't need to do this again. But dude, that's sick. And you bought it.
Yeah.
Dude, that's sweet. How was buying a house today?
So going into it, I was like fully anticipating just like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, there are definitely parts of it that are a roller coaster. But mine was just, it was kind of seamless.
Nice.
Which like doesn't really happen in today's market. Everyone was like, oh, put in 40 offers and look at 800 houses and you're going to have to bid, 30 over asking price with $10,000 in appraisal gap coverage. And just like people are hitting you with like terms you've never heard of, talking about all this stuff, don't buy a house over there. You're going to pay $10,000 in property taxes and like just all these things. I'm going to go on a tangent here.
Yeah, go for it, dude. Rip it.
People have like a funny way of resorting to like the negative.
Oh, dude.
And so I ride a motorcycle. Mm-hmm. And inevitably, when you tell someone that you ride a motorcycle, the first thing they want to do is tell you a story about their brother's cousin's uncle-in-law that died on a motorcycle. And like, yeah, his head came clean off. And it's like, you could have just said, like, that's cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? I ride a motorcycle. Nice. What kind of motorcycle? You know what I mean? Yeah. Ask me the questions I want to answer. Don't tell me about the guy that died last Tuesday. And same thing with like a house. Like oh, I bought a house in this town. Oh, good luck with the water bill. Yeah. It's like, just say congrats. Like, I don't need your negativity right now. Like, do you know how expensive that? You don't know what number was on the check I just wrote last week? Because it was ugly.
I'm already in pain.
I don't need to hear about the water bill that's coming up.
It's like, shut up and just live in the ignorance with me for a little bit.
Let me have a week.
Yeah.
And
dude, it's so true.
Like when you start telling people like, oh, yeah, I'm going to look at a house tonight. And, oh, what area is that in? And like, oh, good luck with everything. And but like for a lot of most people are cool, but like there's definitely those people that they just hit you with those like instant negative comments, dude. And it's like,
and we all know those type of people.
Oh yeah,
it's just like
absolutely,
like instantly in my mind, it's like, yep, that's Rick.
But yeah, like, I think I made. I'll bet you I looked at I looked at hundreds of houses, but as far as like actually going with my realtor and like going to a showing, it might have been like 6 houses.
That's sweet.
And I put an offer on one, and it was one that we were pretty confident. I basically offered asking price, but we knew that it was priced in hopes that they would get over. Yeah. And it ended up sounding like 50 over. But part of the reason I put an offer in was like, God forbid it doesn't go for more than asking price.
I'm going to be pissed.
I'm going to be pissed that I didn't make an offer. Plus, it gave us a chance that we could sit down in person, go over the paperwork. Then, once we've done it in person one time, we don't have to meet every time I want to make an offer. He can just write it up and send it in. So, kind of got a lot of preliminaries out of the way. But that offer didn't go through. I think from the time I was like, hey, I'm ready to buy a house to the time I was like going to closing. Yeah. It was like 3 months.
Dang, that's not bad.
Yeah, it kind of just like a whirlwind.
That's awesome.
Like bang, bang, bang. But the house I ended up getting, I offered under asking price. It had been on market for 34 days. There was no
Which is like 7 years now.
Yeah. There was no competing offers. And till it was all said and done, we landed on a deal that was like, I was like 25 under asking.
Dang.
No competitive offer. Like, it was.
Would you buy a landfill with a 10 on it? Like, that's unheard of this day.
Well, it worked out in my favor because they priced the house a little higher than what it was valued at.
Gotcha.
And so what ended up happening is a lot of people saw that and was, well, for what you would compare it to, it looked like they priced it too high. Yeah. And a lot of people were like, in a market where you have to offer over asking price, this house is already over what it should be at. And so it just kind of, people were like.
Deterred people.
Yeah. And once you then have a house that stays on the market for 20, 30, 40 days, like people start to go, oh, I wonder what's wrong with the place. It looks good in the pictures, but if no one's bidding on it. So everything just kind of landed in my favor that people had seen it and been like, yeah, we're not offering that. Yep. And I was the first person to offer under asking. Like, I was the first person to make them a fair offer.
Nice.
And now it ended up coming back that it actually appraised over what I offered.
Oh, yeah?
So it ended up working out.
That's sick.
And everything, I have to chalk it up to a God thing because it was just everything lined up.
That's awesome.
As perfect as it could have. Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, it's been good. There's definitely just a lot of unknowns.
Yeah.
Like, I think the hardest part of the process is just, like, understanding, like, the vocabulary that goes around. You get hit with escrow, appraisal, and, like, I'm just like, I don't heard these words, and I've said these words, but, like, I didn't know what I was saying when I said them. And then you go to closing, and they're like, all right, here's this document with all these numbers on it, and here's what they mean. And I'm like, yep, I didn't get that.
Yep.
Just sign on the dotted, okay.
Yep.
I may have signed my firstborn child.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, you're not. No one reads those documents.
Yeah.
Except for the nerds that write them, and they don't even read them.
That's like do you agree to the terms and conditions to sign up for iCloud.com?
It's 47 pages long.
Exactly.
It's like, yes.
You're required to click on it.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's like, who's reading this?
Yeah.
No one. Other than my mom. My mom will literally read.
No
and I'm
way.
like, and she's like, do you know they're stealing your information? And I'm like, no. How do you know? Well, it was on page 48. And I was like, I do read
Page 48, Article B, subsection
I was like, hey,
128.
props to you. But yeah, she doesn't get her information
But that is
stolen.
Totally the reason for that.
Oh, 100%.
Like, I heard the whole thing where people that had like the McDonald's. So you know how McDonald's has been like multiple lawsuits.
Yep.
Like the lady spilled coffee on herself and whatever. So McDonald's snuck it into their app. If you have the McDonald's app on your phone in the last 6 months and you agreed to the terms and conditions, you basically signed a waiver that says, for no reason will I ever sue McDonald's.
No way. Good for them.
So like they basically just, half of their target audience just signed a waiver that they can't sue McDonald's for anything.
Yeah.
And it's the same way that like
you want to be fat, you want to get a burger, well, you can't sue us.
Yeah, like it's all, they come up with a 3,000 page budget bill.
Yeah.
And there's also a bill in there to, drop missiles on Tokyo. And it's like, it's for just distributing funds.
Yep. Yeah, no, I literally just heard that where it's like they'll put a bunch of like bills that are totally absurd in with like one good bill.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said, a massive document. So it's like, we want this passed.
Thousands of pages
so then
long.
Everything gets passed.
It's got 30 days to review it. Yeah. And no one's going through it.
No, dude. Not at all. Yeah, it's crazy.
I would say they don't get paid enough for that, but let's be honest.
Yeah, honestly, who's the dude writing that up?
Anyways, because like the people that are like presenting those bills, they're raking in funds, right? And like the dude that probably wrote that makes like $15 an hour.
He's in his basement.
And he's a part-time bartender at,
He's in his basement, and he's got the old school sunglasses with the slits, because anytime he goes outside, the sun's too bright. Dude, what was I just going to say? I was going to say something regarding bills, maybe. Frick, it was good, too.
Should have taken notes.
I know. I totally forgot. It literally just came to me. Bills. Yeah, I don't know. Anywho, whatever.
McDonald's.
No, it wasn't McDonald's. Was it McDonald's? Yeah, it doesn't matter. It wasn't that important, I guess. Yeah, dude, that's freaking crazy. What are you thinking of the election? Dude, did you hear Trump? A third assassination attempt happened?
A third?
Yeah. I didn't hear about it until like a day ago. Dude, I feel like no one's publicizing it.
No.
And it's just like...
Well, I feel like at 3 assassination attempts...
It's just like, all right.
For one, the guy's what? Is he 85?
Yeah, he's up there, dude.
So, like, not only do you have time against you, the dude's old, right? 3 times now, the dude has had an attempt on his life. And that's just during his presidential campaign.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, a guy like him in his position of power, it's not... Those are not the first 3 times someone's probably... You know what I mean? Like, someone probably jumped him in an alley, whatever. So, like, at this point, this dude has to be on, like he's like, come and get me.
Yeah, he's a legend at
Only
this
the good Lord himself
Yes.
can take him out of this world. And, like, I wouldn't want to... If he was my competition, I'd be like, nah, don't publicize that. Like, that just makes him look even more
like,
awesome and untouchable.
Exactly.
Like,
and here's the interesting thing. So, like, after the second one happened down at his golf course, I didn't hear about it for, like, a week.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how did I not hear? Like, the former president of the United States, now candidate to be the future president, and I don't hear about this? So then I started looking it up, and I, like, you know how, like, you type in Google and it always gives you, like, the recommendations?
Yeah.
Nothing. No recommendation until I fully typed it out. Nothing. Clicked on it. And then the interesting thing, and I'm not saying the liberal left controls the media or anything like that. But it took to page 6 to get to an actual conservative news outlet. Everything else was like CNN, NBC, all that. And I who goes to page 6? That's like gone to page 48 on the freaking agreement document. Yeah. No one does that.
Most people don't even make it past the first.
No, I don't. I don't even make it past the AI suggestion anymore. But it was like...
Honestly, the AI suggestion is great.
It's so nice.
It's so handy.
But, dude, it could literally be lying to us nonstop, and I would...
Sure it is.
I would think it's full truth.
I watched a guy do like a demonstration just on Google where he was like, I think he searched, is coffee good for your eyesight?
Yeah.
And so what's the confirmation bias? The idea that like when you're seeking information to confirm an opinion or, we'll use opinion, an opinion. So like, let's say you believe coffee is good for your eyesight. The second you find an article that even remotely backs it up, you're going to be like, well, it's proven. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really easy to find backing information to prove to you something you already believe.
100%.
And so because of that, the best way to sort of, if you're doing research to, just validate or oppose anything, one of the best ways to do that is to be your own devil's advocate.
Yeah.
So to kind of show how this works in just modern times, having tools like Google, he went on and typed, is coffee good for your eyesight? And instantly there's this medical journal and University of this students published this and this paper here and this document here and this double-blind placebo whatever study. You know what I mean? Like all these things.
Keller getting healed.
Yeah. Basically proving that coffee's good for your eyesight. Closed out of that, opened a new tab and said, is coffee bad for your eyesight? Yeah. And all the same information, all the same studies, all the same. So it's like, we have these AI tools now, but all that's doing is taking the first probably 10 searches, analyzing and going, okay, this seems to be the general standard. So anyone out there that has good search engine optimization is going, that their results get filtered to the top, like you said, took you to page 6. So anything that you search in regards to the latest in politics or this type of stuff, that AI tool is only going to grab those top 10 media outlets, and if they're all left-wing liberal media websites, no matter even if I were a left-wing whatever,
getting dangerous there.
I wouldn't want my results to be skewed that way.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't want to only seek out information based on what I already know and believe. You know what I mean? So like, it is kind of I guess you just call it a discretionary tool. You know what I mean? Like it's awesome, it's handy, and it's fast. But in certain cases, you probably do want to dig a little deeper. Sometimes maybe we should all be starting on page 6.
Yeah, that's where we start. Yeah, dude, because it's like, and even this is kind of a random thing, but it'll tie back in, I promise. Like in school, I did not study at all. Like I kind of cheated my way through school.
Sorry, I'm doing action.
That's fine. It's not really picking you up that much. Why are you chewing ice?
Well, I took a sip of water and then the ice.
I'll throw one in.
You know that super random. I don't even know if this is true, but I heard it one time, so I'm gonna repeat it like it's fact. Apparently, people that like crave chewing ice. Apparently, it's a sign of low iron.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Wait, what? Why?
I don't know. Apparently, there's something about having low iron that makes you crave chewing ice. Either that.
Just solely ice?
I don't know, dude. I told you I'm not an expert. I just heard it one time. Someone told it to me like it was a fact, so I'm going to repeat it like it was a fact.
That's just natural podcasting. Like, dude, I'm pretty sure this is true, and no one freaking knows.
That's with like Joe Rogan, where he's like, Jamie, look that up.
Yeah, we need a Jamie. Which, you wouldn't ever. No, you wouldn't. Did you meet Cody? Cody Snyder? He's the other guy that's supposed to help out on this. He wants to be like the Jamie. But he's never here.
Okay.
I don't know where I was going with that. Oh, you said Jamie, and that's why my mind went there. But, what were we saying before we got distracted by chewing ice?
I chewed the ice because I took a sip, and then
We're talking about news and media.
And you said, I got school, didn't study.
Oh, yeah. Why did I say that? Oh, yeah, dude. So, like, honestly, I don't think after, like, 9th grade, I don't think the subjects you study are that important.
I would.
Unless you're specializing in the field of whatever.
Sure.
Like, if you're going to be a, astrophysicist or whatever, yeah, sure.
Or just, like, certain elective classes that.
Correct.
I took a class that was called, like, personal law.
Yeah.
Which was, like, it kind of just.
And now you don't even know a lawyer.
But, like, it went over, like, the Bill of Rights and all that stuff. Like, that is, like, handy information to have.
But I just came to this realization, like, a week ago. Even if you don't believe the class will be beneficial, knowing how to study is incredibly beneficial. I don't know how to study because I literally kind of cheated my way through high school.
Yeah.
And it's like, I am way worse because of it. Like, I just, like, won't look stuff up because I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just gonna guess on this.
Yeah.
Like, and that's why I started a podcast because it's like you don't have to look anything up on this. Like, but it is crazy because even if you don't think school's important and like whatever, we're not gonna go on that tangent. But like the act of studying, whether it's for a class you agree with or disagree with,
research.
Yeah,
being able to
a super good tool to have,
yeah.
and I don't have it. That's crazy.
No, we could go down the rabbit hole of whether school's important or not.
Oh yeah, dude. So, if we're going to go down that rabbit trail, like, my wife's pregnant, going to have the baby here in the winter, and, like, she wants to homeschool the kids after they get older. And I feel like that's, like, a huge trend right now. Because I feel like I've just heard stories from, like, kids I know or like, family members that are in high school now. High school's freaking wild.
Yes, it is.
Like it was always kind of like, yeah, you had your crazy kids when I was gone, but now it's like my one buddy, he went to Warwick, and like kids were giving kids blowjobs in the classroom under the table while the teacher's teaching, and it's like, okay, first off, what? They said they were breaking up kids having sex in the bathroom almost on a daily basis.
I didn't even know what that was in high school.
Yeah, dude, it's like, you want to play Minecraft? Like, it's like, yeah, dude. And I'm just like, he told me that. I was like, what? First off, you got to have a bold personality to just go under a desk and start freaking
you need
blowing
to, like,
some dude's
double
hose.
Underwear just to support the size of your balls at that point. Like,
it's like, and yeah, full classroom, and they said the teachers, like, it's to the point where the kids are that feral that they can't even, like, control them.
Well, and I also feel like, given the, I hate to say the climate, but just like,
go on.
That's not the right word I'm looking for. Just with all the stuff that happens with like the child molestation,
dude,
and like, you know, it coming out that teachers doing this, whatever. Like, as an educator, I would fear even doing anything that would open a window where someone could suggest that something inappropriate happened. So if you have a kid with his pants down and someone under the table going down, like, I wouldn't want to physically break them up because now you just touched a kid who's got his pants around his ankles.
And every other kid's got their phone out. And it's like...
And from the right angle, that could look and trimmed, you know, they cut, you know what I mean?
They'll use AI.
Next thing you know, teacher giving student hand job in the, you know what I mean?
Dude.
Like, so, yeah, like, of course it just went on because as a teacher, I'd be like, I'm not losing my job over this. Like, you call the security or the SRO down and let him break it up. You know what I mean?
It's like finish, and then we'll start learning about pi. like what do you do? Like, I don't even. And to be in that situation, like, you feel bad for the teachers because they're getting underpaid, dude.
Yeah.
And it's like, to put up with that garbage, like, no.
I would not want to be.
Oh, dude,
subject to that.
Yeah, I would.
Well, and all it takes is one accusation, and regardless of. You piss off one kid and they make an accusation, well, already you're on administrative leave. There's an investigation done, and they don't have cameras in the classroom. You know what I mean? So, like, But also at the same time, I wouldn't want cameras in the classroom. So, like, where do you draw the line?
Yeah.
And I hate to be like, oh, technology's killing us. But, like, even just, like, with the joke that we made about, like, I wouldn't have even known what that was in high school. Like, there is so much available to these kids at such a young age that, like, I feel like the age that I don't think we even let kids be kids anymore.
No, dude. If you're talking to a kid about chopping his freaking pecker off because he should be a girl at 3, it's like, that ain't being a kid.
Well, that, and even just to the extent of, like, I was talking to this kid the other day, and he's, like, 14.
Yeah.
And I'm cutting his hair, and he's, telling me about sports that he's in and what his schedule's like, and then he's got this homework, and I'm like, do you play video games? Do you have free time? He's like, not really. And, like, I'm not a huge believer in homework.
Yeah.
Part of that is because I was a kid that didn't want to do homework. But also, like, you've got 8 hours to teach the kid. Now, I get that, like, each individual class you might have an app. But what? For sure. Regardless, most homework is not beneficial in the right way.
No.
It's okay, you went to math class, here's 10 more problems to do at home.
Yeah.
So that sounds like you didn't allot enough time for them to get practice in class. Because there's a certain point where, like, yes, I get we're preparing them for the future. They're going to have jobs one day. But they're 14.
Yeah.
Let them go get in trouble.
Yeah.
Let them go steal a bike off the rack at Walmart and get kicked out by security for riding it around the store. You know what I mean? Like, these kids are going to grow up and, like, I've gone on a lot of tangents in the last 30
That's
seconds
all right.
here. But,
Rip
like,
it.
One of my, like, favorite things in, like, the summer or just any time of year, like going up to, like, my buddy's cabin.
Yep.
And we sit around the fire at night, and the old guys, are telling the same stories. It's like, oh, tell that one about this. I've heard it 10 times, but it's funny every time. These kids are going to grow up and not have a story to tell.
No, dude.
Because they were forced to be an adult at 14 because they went to school for 8 hours. They played basketball right away until 6 o'clock. They went home, ate dinner, did their homework, and went to bed.
Yeah.
That's busy. I'm not even that busy.
Yeah.
I go to work, I go to the gym, I do this around the house and go, you know what I mean? Like, their schedule is crazier than mine.
Oh, dude.
And I'm 25. So, like, that's outlandish to put that amount of pressure on a 14-year-old rather than just let them be a 14-year-old.
Dude, and even, like, my brother's kids, they're getting into sports. And he's not, like, it's just a rec league. But then the coach came up to my brother. He's like, hey, like, your son's getting pretty good. Like, do you want to join the travel team? No. Like, what do you mean? No. Like, the dude's not even 10 years old. And, like, what, you want him to, like, start traveling?
Got some crazy schedules.
Dude, sports parents are wild.
Yes, they are.
Like, it's like, you don't, like, I knew this one lady, we would always go to a restaurant for a Monday morning meeting for our work, and it was our waitress, and she's like, yeah, I got, like, this travel team with this kid, and, like, this person has 2 games this week, and it's like, dude, what? First off,
yeah,
no. Just, like,
I'm good.
Like, it's so much time, and it's so, like you said, it's so much pressure on these kids. Like, it's like, go out, have fun. Like, if you want to play sports, sure, but are we working on your form at 6 years old?
Well, and there's this like whole idea that, like, oh, you want a D1 baseball player, you got to start him in little leagues at 4 years old.
Yeah.
And I guess that is kind of the standard now.
Yeah.
But I hate that that's the standard.
Oh, dude, yeah. And I think, honestly, like, you said that, like, about media and technology, like, kind of ruining us. I love media and technology.
Sure.
It's phenomenal. I've grown up in the generation. I actually talk about this a lot on here. But not even to other people, but it has fricked me up. Like, I'm at to the point now where it's like I kind of crossed over, and then, like, looking back, it's like, oh, yeah. Like, I can see how my attention span is shortened because I was completely overstimulated.
The whole just, like, style of these, like, short form
yeah,
content, TikToks,
and we can't even make it through those.
Like I was saying about earlier, the guy, like, I watched the guy, like, they're, like, finishing the house or whatever, and, like, I love watching that stuff, but, like, their videos are 30 minutes long.
Yeah.
And the amount of times that I catch myself like double tapping to skip 10 seconds, you're like, I don't need to see this part. And it's only gotten worse in the last 2-3 years with the addition of, I think there's reels on like Snapchat now even.
Dude, it's like insane.
And there's just so much exposure of, like, I grew up on Blue's Clues and Sesame Street, right? And now I have like 6 and 7-year-olds that sit in my chair at the shop, and like I've heard them talk about like watching TikTok and stuff like this. And like, I mean, like with like Musk having like Twitter and stuff now, like Twitter's darn near Pornhub at this point. Like I fully believe that like freedom of speech,
100%,
freedom of expression, do your thing. But don't put it in the hands of a 6-year-old.
No.
Like, I don't think anyone has the right to... Okay, but even just like...
Go on the tangent.
Sorry, my brain...
Getting fired up.
This is how my brain works.
Yeah, I love it. Go with it.
Lightning bolt.
Yeah.
But no, I think a lot of kids are just exposed to adult concepts way too early, and they shouldn't have to. But I just had this conversation, and this is one that you're more than welcome to jump in on because I'm sure you'll have a fun opinion.
Oh, yeah.
But like with these like porn stars and OnlyFans models that are now able to use Twitter as a billboard.
Yeah.
And there's no rules of what they can and cannot put on there.
Yeah.
So like, let's say, because again, it's a gray area for me because I don't think we should have strict moderation on everything that we do. When you start telling people what they can and can't say, that's a line you can't cross,
it gets
right?
Western.
But if an OnlyFans model puts a video of her revealing herself or performing acts on another individual, and a 7-year-old sees that on his feed, is that a form of, I don't know,
pedophilia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, who's at fault there? Is it the parent for allowing their child to have a phone? Is it the OnlyFans model for posting it?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's such a weird time to think that like, oh, I don't need to lock Twitter on my phone, but like, you do.
Yeah, you do. Oh, dude. And that's the thing too, like the open availability of it. Like even, okay, so like I grew up early or late 90s, early 2000s, and it's like, dude, I found porn at like 3rd grade, 4th grade. And it's like, there it wasn't readily accessible. Now, you can have a 5-year-old that isn't even looking for it, it's looking for them.
Yeah, you don't have to try and find it. It will find you.
Yeah.
Like,
instantly, because it's, some TikTok chick, and like, it starts, and the thing too is like, little boys are curious. Little kids are curious in general.
Yeah.
If they see a smoking hot chick revealing herself, the algorithm, hey, they watch this full video, pump 7 more their way.
Yep.
Pump 10 more their way. And there's like...
And next thing you know, they're clicking on profiles, they're clicking on the sound, they're following the rabbit hole of where that sound goes.
Instantly you're sucked in.
Next thing you know, cross-platform analyzation, they're on Twitter, same type of content is getting pushed into their field of view. And, you know, while a lot more gets moderated on TikTok than Twitter, it's... And all you need is an email. Yeah. If you have an email account, or just... an iCloud, because you can click sign in with iCloud. You don't even need to put in a username and password. Everything's iCloud. You know what I mean? It stores one password. So it's like, it is not difficult at all.
No.
For anyone to access.
And that's the thing. I heard, Candace Owens said, I'm not a Candace Owens fan. She's incredibly intelligent. I think she can kind of be a bully sometimes. Super intelligent, but I love what she said. She's like, your grandparents stayed together because they didn't have a million options at their fingertips of everyone who's better than their spouse. And I thought about that. I was like, that's actually super true. Like, back in the day, there wasn't technology. Like, the only people you had to compare your potential spouse to was the people in your town.
Yeah.
And it's like, and at that point, like, small town, like, yeah, some woman or man might be more attractive than your spouse, but you probably know some beef on them, and it's like, no, like, I'm good.
Sure.
Like, and now it's just like everyone's flaunting it, and everyone's getting all this work done, and like, dude, okay, makeup is borderline a crime because you can take a freaking Helga and turn her into a dime piece.
You can take Fiona and her,
freaking Shrek dog. And like, obviously, I'm not anti-makeup. Like 100%. Yeah. If you want to rock makeup, 100%, it makes yourself feel better. But it's like there's so many options, and like you said, freedom of speech, freedom of expression. My thing, and obviously, like, I grew up conservative. Like, grew up in a conservative church, but I kind of have a liberal view on this. And it's not even liberal. It's just like, it can't be one way without the other. So it's like, okay, well, if we're allowed to practice our beliefs and we're allowed to have our free speech and like try to bring people to Christ, if they don't believe in that, they also have the same freedom to not believe. And it's like, if we're trying, so yeah, I get what you're saying there, because it's like, well, if I'm just trying to filter what I want and like, hey, this is all okay, but this isn't, there is a bit of a conundrum there.
Absolutely.
And it's like, well, we can't do that. But there is, when children are involved, it's like, okay.
That's kind of my biggest thing, is when it's involving children. Because, like, if you want to, say, let your freak flag fly, go for it. And that's the way the Constitution is set up.
Mm-hmm.
It is set up that it allows you to believe what you want to believe and live your life the way you want to live, as long as it doesn't infringe on the way I want to live my life. And I 100% support that. If you want to do your thing in your own way, great. I think you should be allowed to do it. And where I think moderation needs to exist is when it's in the hands of children.
Correct, because at some point you're formulating their opinion for them. When they're young, when they're too young, it's like they don't even know what they think.
Well, and that's the whole thing, like you said about like your wife wanting to homeschool your kids. Like, if we circle back to that, because there are teachers out there that are forcing their own.
Dude, it's insane.
I forget who it was, but I heard someone, we'll say, quoted this or whatever, but their quote was that, like, if as an educator your students know your political position, you've already failed them as an educator. And I think he took it one step further and made a comment in regards to, how is it worded? Basically, he said, it's not your job to teach them what to think, but how to think.
Yeah.
And kind of like what you said, you never learned how to study because you probably went to school with the ideology that information was going to get forced down your throat and it wasn't helping you in that moment, so you didn't need to learn it. So, but had that information been presented in a way that, like, solved this puzzle, how do you get from A to Z, you may have found that more beneficial to you.
Yeah, 100%.
Because there was a means to an end, not just a,
hey, dude,
learn this, answer this, test on that, and you're like, F this, I'm over that.
Yeah, I don't want to freaking do that.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, it's... Yeah, like you said, when kids get involved, and it's like, when you're an adult, you are fully responsible for your actions.
Yes.
But as a child, it's like you're still learning. Yeah, you're still responsible, but it's like you can be coerced and manipulated incredibly quickly.
Well, and I think that's why you see it a lot of times in those, like, elementary school settings. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the video of that dad that, like, his kid brought home this book from the library.
Dude,
like,
yes.
Like, grotesque things that should not be in a middle school library. And I would, no, it shouldn't be.
No,
like,
no, like it's like, and why? Like that's the better question. Like,
what benefit does
exactly
a 9-year-old get from knowing what sex is?
Yeah,
not saying they shouldn't know, but it's like that's a parent's duty to determine when.
Yeah, not a teacher.
It's no one knows the level of responsibility a child has more in a traditional household setting, in a healthy environment. That parent understands what's best for that kid. And so, while yes, it's your job to teach them to read and to write and to speak and however far you want to say school goes, there are just, like, I remember when, I think it was like 7th and 8th grade, we had to take, like, permission slips home from health class to say, like, hey, over the next couple weeks, we're going to be talking about these things. Are you okay with that? Or would you like your child to sit out of these classes? And now we have books with all kinds of sexuality and we'll just leave it at that. Just sexuality or sexual related topics in elementary and middle school libraries where kids are unsupervised.
Yeah.
So
and not in an educational setting either.
And that's what I'm saying. They can go in there and see these things and form opinions out of misunderstanding.
Yeah. Yeah, with no guidance. And it's like, and that's where it's like, dude, just let the kids be kids.
Yeah.
Like, it's like.
That's where that whole ideology comes from. Is like, I look forward to, like, the days when, like, I have kids or grandkids and they go, Dad or Grandpa, like, can you tell us about that time?
Yeah.
And it's a story I've told them 100 times. You know what I mean? And it's like, when we force kids to grow up so fast, they just become these mindless, you know, corporate office, 9 to 5, whatever.
Yeah, just a cog in a wheel.
Boring.
Yeah. And that's the thing, too. It's like, okay, so, like, you're pumping in all this information and indoctrination that you want forced on these kids, and then it's like, then they're not doing the... Like, I'm mad because I know how good my childhood was.
Yeah.
Where it's like I wasn't being in... And in small ways I probably was that I didn't know about. But, like, I remember going out and playing... And you can't even say this word anymore, but, like, Smear the Queer.
Yeah.
Dude, I freaking loved that game. It was so fun. Going out playing with my neighbors, playing football, riding bike, like, getting in the dirt.
Parents are afraid to send their kids to their friend's house for a sleepover.
Yeah. Dude.
And rightfully so.
Rightfully so. Like, I would be terrified.
But, like, that was like, oh, Mom, I go to Taylor's house this weekend. Yeah, have fun. And, like, as a 25, almost 26-year-old, like, venturing into that part of life where, like, I could have kids in the next 5 years or so. And so, like, I don't know that I would want to send like, seeing all the crap that's out there, I would be hesitant to, like, send kids over to friends' houses without
if you don't know them or anything, it's like...
And it's even like, there was a teacher at Donegal that, like, just came up that he... I don't know to what the extent was, but he was fired for something involving...
Inappropriate.
Yeah. And I never had him as a teacher, but, like, anytime I saw him in the hallways or whatever, like, never had a bad interaction with him, never got the vibe that, like, it's just regular people.
Yeah.
Well, I say regular, but not so regular.
Yeah.
Messed up people. But you just don't know. But there's also a certain point that, like, I also don't want to shelter my children in the world. But I also don't want to just release them out into the pasture with the wolves, you know?
Dude. Yeah. And that's becoming, like, more and more, obviously, the closer we get to actually having a child, like, that's the more and more real it comes. It's like, oh, dude, like, I'm solely responsible for this life. And, like, if they get fricked up, that's on me.
Yeah.
And I need to live with that. And that's gonna suck, because that would be the largest regret of my life.
Yeah.
And it's like, because it's no longer just you. Like, it's no longer like, oh, I got screwed up. It's like, no, I allowed. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, yeah, I can live with that. Like, hey, I made a dumb choice. It affected me. Now it's like, and the tough part is, you might not even make a dumb choice. And someone else fricks him up because you were trusting. Yeah. And it's like, dude, That's freaking tough.
But you're still going to put that on yourself.
Oh, 100%, because you're a parent.
Because you place trust in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, that's such a... And I feel like there are more and more people that are our age that are just like, I don't want kids.
Yeah,
I
no.
don't bring kids in this world. But at the same time, actually, it was a customer of mine. You know, I cut all their boys' hair. It's a mom. She's got 4 boys.
Mm-hmm.
And she made a comment to me because I made a comment about that. Like, I don't know where I stand on wanting kids.
Yeah.
Because of the world that they'd be brought into.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, Josh, she goes, I don't want to make a decision for you. She goes, but I want you to think about this. She goes, because I know you're a good guy. She goes, we need good men bringing up good kids for there to be change in this world.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those things that it was like, almost like a, I don't know if I want to say a sense of relief, but almost like a sort of rejuvenation or like a, just like a come to Jesus moment. Like, you know what? Yeah, I could stand around and talk about all the crap that there is in the world, but like, if I don't do anything in effort to solve that, then I'm just a guy sitting in a living room complaining about the problems in this world. You know what I mean?
And that's like, this is semi-related, but like, okay, so it's like, yeah, we do need good men bringing up good kids, and the bar for good has never been so low.
Yeah.
Like, in a world, and like, not to get like biblical or spiritual, but like in a world of darkness, so much darkness, it's so easy to light something up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and Alex Hermosi, which I quote all the time on here because I think he's a great businessman, he's like, it's easier than ever to be successful and like do something with your life, but it's also easier than ever to do nothing. Because he's like, there's so many distractions, and it's like, oh yeah, that's like so true. Like in life, yeah, and it's like you look around and it's like, yeah, the world is kind of filthy, but it's always been filthy. Like people are like, oh, the world's getting worse. It's like, I honestly don't think so.
I think we just hear about it.
Yeah, now it's just in 1 second you can hear some terrible event that happened on the other side of the world.
I definitely think that like in certain ways we have spiraled deeper into darkness.
For sure.
But I do think a lot of it is just, one, the rate at which information is spread, but 2, the volume at which you can consume it in a... Because, yeah, news used to spread fast, but you waited till 6:30 after you got done eating dinner, and you'd flip Channel 7, Channel 8, whatever on, and, oh, this teacher did this in Alabama, and, oh, this fireman rescued this cat out of a tree in Texas, and like you would watch each story, and the news was what, I don't know, 2-3 hours in the evening, and then, you know, somewhere in the middle there you figured out what tomorrow's weather was going to be, and kids, looks like there must be a 2-hour delay in the morning, and then you went to bed and you waited till the next morning, you got your paper to catch up on some stuff, and then you watched it. Like that was the standard. But now it's like I can be in the middle of cutting your hair and new assassination attempt on Trump. This politician did this. This criminal did this. Whatever. Like it is.
Well, you wouldn't hear about the assassination attempt.
That would have gotten pushed to page 38. But like, it's both the speed at which it can reach a huge audience, but also the volume with which it can be consumed by that audience. So like, if you ate 1,000 jelly beans over the course of a week, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah.
But if you ate 1,000 jelly beans for dinner, you'd be sick.
Yeah, you'd be throwing up.
And I think it's kind of the same thing.
I would agree.
If you consume at what the rate of which information was spread 20 years ago, then you'd be like, oh man, you know, that's really shitty that happened.
Yeah.
But if you get 40 stories a day about heinous things going on in the world, that would start to really skew your perception of what's going on.
And I think you have 40 stories that are skewed because our attention span is only 7.6 seconds. So it's like, you didn't hear the whole story.
Plus, it's also like, it's not balanced out by anything anymore either. Because most of the news is Donald Trump wants to kill the immigrants.
Yeah.
And Kamala wants to abolish tax, whatever. And, like, this guy killed this guy, and this man raped these women. And, like, most of the news that, like, when we talk about news, that's a very broad term. But when I say that term, most people think about what bad things are going on in the world right now. Because it's very rare that, like, unless you read the newspaper, you usually don't see the story about that, like, Make-A-Wish kid who got to meet a star hockey player, or the fireman that rescued a cat out of a tree, or hometown hero saves girl from getting hit by a bus. Like, those stories are out there. There are still good Samaritans out there doing 100%. Amazing things every day. But for whatever reason, the algorithms of our media pages don't push those things to our feed like they do the negativity.
Yeah. And it just doesn't sell.
No.
Like, guy rescues cat, terrorist kills 76 people on live television. Everyone's clear. Like, terrible events sell better than good events. Unfortunately. But
not that you want people to not be in the know, but like, it ends up, I think it does skew our perception of the world.
I heard a great quote one day, and it was, if you watch the news, you're misinformed, and if you don't watch the news, you're uninformed. And I was like, I like that.
Yeah.
I was like, that's classic. Like, because you don't have the full story unless you do digging for yourself, and like, and I say that not as a dig on like liberal news networks, any news network. Like the right's pushing their agenda, the left's pushing their agenda.
Doesn't matter where you stand.
And it's just like, you just uninformed or you're misinformed. I was like, that's cool.
Yeah, no, I do like that.
But you want to take a quick break?
Now you have a child on the way, dude. We haven't really talked about that.
Terrifying.
What are your thoughts on dad life?
I'm one. So both of our friends, so Doss, the guy that's on with me, and Cody, the Jamie of this podcast, they both had kids. Cody just had his baby girl recently, and Dawson, his daughter might be 1. No, I don't want to say that. It might. She's a little older.
Yeah.
And like, we've been friends for, like, me and Doss have been friends ever since I can remember. And Cody, and like, he came in later, but it's still like a long-term friendship.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, we want kids at some point. I've heard so many people be like, dude, if you have good friends and they have kids and you don't, not that you stop hanging out, but it's a lot harder to hang out because it's like they're going home earlier because their kids need a nap or whatever. And I was like, I used to think, I was like, dude, you just had kids because they had kids. That's dumb. It's like, that is the perfect excuse to have kids because A, you get to go through the muck together. Yep. Because there is some muck with kids. Like, it's like, you got sleepless nights. Like, you got,
Well, and it's probably way easier to just be like, hey, we want to go away for the weekend, or like, hey, we need to go, we want to have a date night. You mind watching the little guy? Yeah, he can play with my, you know what I mean? Like,
you just go through life together.
But like, if you have a 2-year-old and they have a 12 and a 10-year-old, they're gonna
a little
be like,
different.
Are your parents around? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
so it's like, okay, like, perfect excuse because like, we want them at some point. I'm never gonna be ready, but dude, I'm freaking terrified. Like, kids scare me, and I think it's because like I'm still pretty immature in a lot of areas in life of like selfishness. Like, I'm still pretty selfish. And I would have postponed kids even longer because I was like, dude, like, I'm not a control freak when it comes to like I don't need to control other people. Like, that doesn't, like, Anna, like, if she's like, hey, like, I want to go shopping, 100%, like, go shopping. That's awesome. But it's like, my time, that's when I can, like,
your time,
sink
your
the
things.
claws of control in. And, like, I feel like I'm just unqualified. It's like, dude, I'm still, like, a freaking child myself.
Yeah.
And I'm terrified. But then, so, like, my brothers are older than me. They have kids. Like, my one brother's got 4 kids. And seeing his boys grow up together reminds me of how him and I and my other brother.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's freaking sick.
That's cool, yeah.
Like, I want, like, now they're his little buddies. And it's like, that's freaking cool.
Yeah.
Like, babies scare me. I don't love babies and, like, infants and, like, the baby stage. But you give me a 6 and an 8-year-old, dude, then we're going to have the time of our lives. And I realized this thing, too. Like, I feel like men never grow out of the kid stage. We just shelf it because society says we can't like Legos. And then our kids come around, and it gives us an excuse to get
play
back
with
into
Legos. Well, I have a nephew who's a year old. And while I'm not, like, financially or, like, physically responsible for him per se, but, like, obviously I'm not going to, like, not protect him
for sure.
I'm in a position to do so. But, like, he's a year old. He's, like, starting to, like, walk pretty good. Yeah. And, like, he kind of says a couple, like, words here and there. But, like, I could, like, spend hours just, like, walking around, like, holding him, letting him point at this, let him check that out. Like, and, like, it is so fun to just, like, like, when I was disappointed when he was born.
Yeah.
Because of the same thing you said. Like, I have a niece to the same sister that has my nephew. She's going to be 4 next month.
Okay.
And so she was, like, 3 when he was born, or almost 3. And so, like, she was at that age, like, we were running, playing, talking, having an awesome time. And then my sister tells me I'm going to have a nephew.
Yeah.
And I, like, don't get me wrong, I love my niece.
Yeah.
But a boy?
Yeah. Oh
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
I'll take 2.
Uh-huh.
And then he was born.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't do anything with
this
thing.
Guy sucks.
I don't know how to support his neck.
Yeah.
Like, you just handed me a China doll. Like, I don't know what to do with this thing.
Dude, I'm there.
But,
with
like,
you.
now he's, like, on that cusp of, like, being a person. Yeah. And, like, the other day I found a stray kitten in my yard. And I didn't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
Because it was, like, walking around. It would, like, bump his head on something. And then it would, like, turn and go straight until it bumped his head on something else. And I was like, I think this cat's, like, blind. Or, like, maybe it's, like, really hungry. I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
But I'm also allergic to cats. And it was like a stray. So like I took a towel and just like kind of caught it and I put it in a box. And then I called my sister and she was like, well, it's a good looking cat. Like if it's healthy, like we would take it.
Yeah.
And so she got an appointment with her vet and it ended up being blind, deaf, and epileptic.
Oh, dude.
So it was like having seizures on like the table at the nurse or the vet. So like they ended up putting it down, which I'm glad they did because otherwise if I had just let it out in my yard, it would have gotten eaten by something or run over by something or crawled up in a ball and starved to death. But like when my sister came over to get it, I was like holding my nephew so that she could put the cat in like their little cage. And like he couldn't say kitty, but he could kind of say like titty almost.
Yeah, dude, why do all kids do that?
And he kept like reaching, he'd be like titty, titty, and like just like to see like the excitement in his, like he wasn't allowed to touch it because they didn't know if it was clean or not. But like he was just like so excited. He was like falling out of my arms trying to like grab this thing. He was like, I want that. I need to see it. And like, dude, it's just fun.
Dude, it is. And yeah, why do all kids mispronounce words into something inappropriate?
Yes.
That's hilarious. It's like, it could be giddy, but it never is.
No.
It's always
like,
titty.
My niece had this book of animals. And we like point at an animal and go, quack, quack.
Yeah.
Nope, cock, cock.
Yeah.
Like, that's just
so awesome.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because it's like, they don't know. Like, they're so innocent. And it's like,
they're just saying what they heard.
Yeah, it's classic, man. Yeah, no, it's fun because, even with my nephews, and like seeing their personalities develop is freaking hilarious. Because the one's just an absolute goofball, and the one is so, like, he's still a good kid, but he's so, like, mischievous. And I love it. It's so funny.
Well, and you can probably, as the fun uncle that I assume you are, like, you can play into that.
It's so funny. Because, like, and it's like, dude, like, you'll just, like, watch him and observe him, and it's like, no one else is picking up on this. And then I just look at him, and it's like, I know. And then he's like, he gets all sheepish. It's so awesome.
Well, like, he probably knows that, like, you're going to let him get away with it and probably join in, too. So he's like...
Dude, it's so fun. It's hilarious. Because it's like, you're a genius. Like, that's so creative. And, like...
It'll be fun to see how that changes for you, too, because it's like, right now, it's your brother's kid.
Yeah,
of course you're going to encourage poor behavior.
Yeah.
But now that it's your kid and you got to take him home,
yeah,
I feel like there's definitely a shift that changes.
Oh,
there.
dude, yeah. My brothers were like, dude, when you have your kid, we are encouraging the worst behavior.
Absolutely.
It's like, frick. He's like,
we're going to teach them what drugs are.
Yeah,
we're going to show them where you keep the alcohol.
Yeah, hey, you want firecrackers? Here you go.
Here's the mega pack.
But yeah, no, I'm stoked for that. Like, I'm stoked for, the infancy stage doesn't like, I feel like that's the woman's territory. Like, they're so nurturing and they're so caring. And it's like.
Well, and even with, like, what you're saying about, like, your brothers, kids, it's good to understand what harmless mischief is.
Yeah.
And that's because, like, no good uncle is being like, let's give you cocaine to trick your dad. You know, they're going to
Boy, did we prank him.
They're going to be like, all right, here's what we're going to do. You know, we're going to light this firework and we're going to throw it near your dad's foot, but we're going to make sure it doesn't get too close. Like, it's mischievous. It's silly. It's fun, but it's also not done with ill spirit. Like, your brothers are not doing it to intentionally harm you or harm your child. And it's good to know where those lines are.
Yeah, for sure.
Because as much as, you know, we're, you know, obviously this is, you know, belief dependent, but like as much as we're called to, you know, have a purpose in life to be disciples of the Lord, like, I don't think we're not supposed to have fun.
Yeah, no, 100%. And like,
because the fact that we can distinguish fun from not fun means it's genetically built into us. You know what I mean? The reason why we have mothers that nurture and men that protect and uncles that encourage fun behavior, like, and that's the other thing. It's good to have, like, as a dad, you can still be mischievous and fun with 100%. Your kid, but like, your kid will over time, much like I'm sure you've seen in your brothers, that like, they know they can have fun up to a certain point, but like, dad's also one that steps in and goes, "Hey, we've gone too far."
All right,
and like, I feel like kind of a dad's job is to like teach a kid where those lines are.
For sure.
Because there's a certain amount of responsibility, a certain amount of respect that needs to be shown to certain people and certain things. And I think kind of like we were talking about with like teachers not teaching kids what to think, but how to think, it's kind of your job to like let them live their life, let them make their own decisions, but be there to guide them and show them where black is, where white is, and where gray is.
Yep.
I think it's Jordan Peterson has like that comment that pops up all the time where he's like, kids learn the most, or I forget exactly, but he talks about kids trying to do dangerous things carefully or something to that effect, where your kid is probably at some point going to be standing on the edge of the coffee table looking at the couch thinking, I can clear a 3-foot gap, and he's only 1 foot tall.
Yeah, and it's actually 8 feet. It's like, dude, what are you doing?
And so, like, that's an opportunity to assess the situation and go, if he misses, does he die?
Yeah, because if not.
And if the answer's no, as long as he's not, like, barreling towards it, probably good to, you know, might he bump his head? Probably.
Yeah.
But then he's going to learn, maybe I need to push the coffee table closer to the couch.
I just need to get a running head start at this
or get a running head start.
Yeah, no, because it's like, and even in my life, like, and I love my parents. They obviously weren't perfect, but it's like a lot of my childhood was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, just don't do that. Why? Well, it's bad. Don't do it.
Because I said so.
Yeah.
Oh, that was infuriating.
Oh, dude.
If my dad hit me with the because I said so,
it's like
I wanted to just.
Oh, dude, just unleash a little bit of Satan on him. But, like, the philosophy I'm going with now, and obviously once I actually become a parent, it could dramatically change because I understand the naivety of this statement. But I think it's a good philosophy. Like, life is built on consequences, good and bad. Every decision you make has a consequence. Output, good or bad. And teaching them, not really saying no, or like, hey, no, you can't do that. Be like, hey, here's what'll happen. If you hit your brother, he's going to get pissed. He may hit you back. I'm going to spank you because no, we don't physically harm. Or more if it was his sister. I mean, brothers can fight, dude. I'm down with that. I fought with my brothers all the time. It was awesome. But, like, just teaching them the consequences. Like, hey, you can do this. You can go down this road. Or here's the other consequence.
The amount of times I tried to take on my older brother, knowing full well he would annihilate me.
Yeah.
But I still did it.
100%. And it's just like, it's learning that because that is a life skill that will serve you in any area of life you go. Because every area of life is just good and bad consequences. And like weighing, like, okay, is the risk of my brother pummeling me 98% of the time worth the 2% that I might be able to take in this time?
I had a customer, and I love getting into like conversations about like children, the psychology of children. And he has, I want to say it's a 5 or 6 year old boy and then like a 3 or 4 year old daughter.
Yeah.
And he's just, for a guy that's like, I want to say he's like 30.
Yeah.
He's just very wise and just so like preemptively thinking about how things snowball in time. And I saw him do something at the shop with his son that I was just like, wow, like that was such a cool moment to witness. And I've told him about it since then, and like it's led into some really fun conversations, like even more deep dive into that whole just psychology of children. But I cut his son's hair, and when his son got up, he said, "Here's my phone." He said, "I want you to put on a show that both you and your sister will enjoy." And he starts to like walk away, and he goes, wait, I want you to tell me what show. He goes, I'll put it on for you, then give you the phone. And then he was like, so tell me, what's a show that both you and your sister will enjoy? And you could see his son like starting to open his mouth. He was about to blurt something out, and he goes, take a second and think about it. And his son like stopped for a second, and you could see he like changed his mind about which show. Like he was just gonna blurt out what he wanted to watch. Yeah. But he said, take a second and think about it. And that forced him to go, okay, what's Dad really asking me? I need to pick a show that I like and my sister likes, because he's not going to put it on if it's just something that I like. And you could see the thought process turning, and then he said a show or whatever, his dad put that on. And I just like looked at him, I was like, dude, that was really cool.
Yeah.
And like I started thinking about the effect that has in the long term, because that didn't just make his sister happy in that moment.
Yeah.
What that did in that moment was not only teach him to think about others before himself, it taught him, don't act on impulse, think about others before myself, protect my little sister, because in a very subconscious way, he's saying, what does my sister need more than me?
Yep.
Because it wasn't, what do I like that she likes? He went, what is something that she likes? Okay, yeah, I can watch that too. So, because you can't just tell a 6-year-old, hey, you need to watch out for your sister. You need to think about her feelings. You need to not act on impulse. Kids don't even know what half those words mean. But when you can do it in a way that's just, all he said was take a second and think about it. But the effect that will have repetitive over the next 10 years of his, he said all the time, he said, like, if I'm like grabbing something out of the car and I just got them out and like she starts to like wander off, he's like, he grabs her arm and pulls her back in. And he's like, I didn't teach him to do that.
Yeah.
He just looks out for his little sister. And he started telling me all kinds of stories about just like the way he like acts towards his sister and the way he protects her and looks out for her. And it was so cool to think that he did it without ever saying, watch out for your sister, protect your family, think about other people's needs. But he's teaching him all those things in the way a kid can be reached.
Yeah.
And like, that was one of those ones that like he said that I told him, I was like, I'm tucking that one in the arsenal. Yeah. I was like, I'm gonna steal that for you, you know.
Because I feel like even in my own life, like there was crap that my mom said to me that would just infuriate me.
Or would go in one ear and out the other.
Yeah. And I'd be like, what are you doing? Like, why? Of course not. Then going through teenage years into young adult, now to married, it's only clicking now. And it's like, oh, you were right. Frick.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, in the way where it's like, hey, you're teaching them the exact same things of like, but you're talking to them like a legitimate adult and like you would talk to your lawyer. Put it in terms where it's like, You're still teaching them the exact same skill, just in a language they can understand. And it's like, yeah, because what's a kid's like life? It's like, oh yeah, like shows, playing. So it's like, okay, use those as teaching elements.
Absolutely.
To still teach honestly how the world works. And like, hey, this is like what you need to do. This is what's expected from you. But I'm not going to sit you down and be like, this is what's expected from you. Like, take notes. It's like, no, you teach it in a way that they can understand.
Yeah. And it comes from like when it's taught in that like fire and brimstone kind of style. No kid responds well to that.
No.
Even as an adult, I don't like if you yell or bark orders at me, I'm like, buzz off. Pal.
Yeah, most of the time I'm doing the exact opposite.
Yeah. And part of that might just come with my issue with, authoritative figures.
Yeah.
But
do you have issue with authoritative figures?
I don't know.
Maybe.
I just don't like being told what to do.
Yeah, I don't either, dude. Yeah. Honestly, okay, so we
like if I'm about to take the trash out.
Yeah.
And like as I'm walking towards the trash can, you go, take the trash out. I'm like, no.
I'm turning around.
Yeah. Now you say, hey, you mind taking the trash out? Yeah, I was already on it.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
I'll tell you what. Sorry, I keep cutting you off
Nope,
there.
you're good.
You talked about your mother infuriating you. You know what one comes to mind when you say that? Anytime that I was like, Mom, I can't find whatever. And she would go, well, where did you leave it last?
Yeah.
If I knew, I wouldn't be asking you.
Oh, dude.
That one ate me to the bone.
Yep. Yeah, I forget if it's Trey Kennedy or someone. It's like, moms give good advice just like too late.
It was Tim Hawkins.
Yeah, and he's like, bump your head, be careful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so funny.
Good advice too late.
But it's so true. Like, I feel like every mom is like that.
I learned that when like my parents were like teaching me how to drive.
Yeah.
Because my mom would be like, hands on the Jesus handle, double checking her seatbelt, screaming, you're over the white line, whatever. My dad would like let me screw up.
Yeah.
And then very calmly just be like, you know what you did wrong there? And I was like, no. And he's like, all right, well.
You figure it out.
Yeah, like he wouldn't even tell me. It would just be like, he would tell me I screwed up, but wouldn't tell me what I did wrong.
And
but what that made me do is like overanalyze and think very cautiously. And that's, again, to get biblical on it, I think that's why man and woman were created, I'm going to use the word unequal, and not in the term that they are not equal of each other, but they were built very differently for the reason that like we respond to different means of teaching and instruction in different circumstances, because there are times that as a child and even as an adult that you just want to like complain about it and be coddled and told that you were right, they were wrong, come here, it's okay, pat on the shoulder, scratch your head, like. And there's other times where you need someone to go like, nah, you screwed up, you're gonna deal with the consequences of that. And you just gotta have that balance.
Yeah, I mean that's part of being like and I feel like if we're ripping on society still, like that is something that society, like, we're coddling and just demasculizing men. And it's like
this whole toxic masculine, and I feel like it's starting to like wind down.
Yeah.
But like there was like a good stint of like, say 3 to 5 years, maybe all but the last like year that I've seen it kind of trail off, that it was just like being a straight white, muscular handyman, construction, whatever, just like your classic blue collar dude. That was like the worst thing that you could be.
Oh, dude, yeah.
You were hated.
Al Qaeda was better than you.
Absolutely. Like, and like, I work in a job that like, I kind of stamp my name on everything. And while I believe that I should be allowed to stand behind my chair and say what I want, do what I want, post on Facebook what I want, I also understand that I'm in a position where all it takes is one,
and
my reputation's gone.
Toast.
You can give 1,000 good haircuts, but you piss off the one person that matters, that could be the end of my business. You know what I mean? And so I try to teeter that line of like, and it comes down to understanding your audience too. But like, there's definitely been times where like I've been so close to making comments because people were just barking up the wrong tree. And it's just like,
dude,
you have the right to say something, but it's not the time to say something.
Yeah. And then it's like, okay, like you can say that and then you live with the consequence of potentially.
Or even like, I don't know if you're in that like little town group on Facebook or whatever, like the little town of Mannheim or whatever.
No, I don't think.
So there's a group on Facebook called Little Town of Mannheim.
Okay. It sounds woke. Is it? Or is it like moms?
It's a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Dude.
Okay. Maybe I'll have to look it up.
It is funny.
Really?
So there's two groups. There's Little Town of Mannheim. And there's Little Town of Mannheim Uncensored.
No, dude.
And they're equally golden.
Yeah.
A lot of it's people just like complaining about things. But people will rip them new ones in the comment.
Dude.
So the posts are not what's funny.
Yeah,
the comment section. Like
gold.
There'll be someone make a post. Some lady made a post a couple weeks ago where she was like, "Is it absolutely necessary for the siren at the firehouse to be so loud? My 1-year-old child woke up screaming because of it, and now I can't put them back to sleep.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why in this age of technology we need to have sirens so loud to like alert people." And people in the comments were like, "Sorry your house didn't burn down. Like, we feel really bad about your sleeping child."
Oh, my bad. Your crib for your kid's still not burning.
Well, and everyone else was like, "So you bought a house next to a fire station, expecting the fire alarm not to go off." And they just ate her alive. And she kept like pushing her point, like she couldn't back down. But it was like, it was too late.
Dude, honestly, this is like, that's a hilarious thing. And not to like dive deep into it and rip her, but I feel like in today's world, it's just this sense of entitlement. Like, I'm sorry, but your house burning down inconvenienced me and my child. Why do you feel entitled to like be like, oh, it's so? What do you mean?
There is a huge lack in moral obligation there. It's just like.
But it's like, hey, you have the freedom to post that, and everyone has the freedom to rip you.
Yep.
And I'm about it. Because those are the funniest posts.
If you, like, there have been times that, like, I've spent, like, my entire lunch break at work.
Yeah.
Like, I heard about something going on in town, and I'm like, there's definitely something on Facebook about this.
That's incredible.
Road closures. Oh, people are, like, losing their minds.
Oh,
I can't get around this place.
Dude, at Pleasant View. Oh, freaking redoing that road. It actually ticks me off because I drive that road every day to work. I'm like, this sucks.
I've been coming up this way almost every day. I've been working out at the gym at Pleasant View.
No way. No, how can you work out at the freaking gym? You can't work out at that gym. You're not 30. I couldn't work out at that gym. Who do you know?
I know people.
I do. We do work there.
Yeah, I just know people.
No, don't give me. I just know people.
We're on record right now.
Oh yeah,
we'll talk off record.
It wasn't Pleasant View. It was a different place. But,
it was the other retirement.
Yeah, that you don't need to be 30.
We'll cut this part out of the podcast because it's pointless, and then I'll tell you when we're done.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, I've wanted to join that gym for so long, and I'm just waiting until I'm 30, dog. I'm so mad.
I'll hook it up.
But. Yeah, they're doing all that construction there. And, man, literally now I've just started, and they're probably mad at me for doing this. I'll just cut through Pleasant View because it's quicker than sitting at that little light. I'm like, you know what? If it's
Do they put, like, a temporary light up during the week?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't been up here during that at all.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes a guy manning it's like just sitting down eating a churro. And I'm like, dude.
Oh, shoot. My bad. Come on through, pal.
So, yeah, it's like, you know what? If you're inconveniencing me, I'm going to inconvenience you. Drive through their facility. But
Well, I think it's technically considered like a public road.
I think so, actually.
I don't think they could really stop you.
No. Even if they can. I now know connections there.
I got you.
That's it, dude. Their facility's nice.
It is nice.
It's
Have you
freaking
been
awesome.
in the gym there?
Yeah, because they had a sewer leak, so I got to go in on that, even though I wasn't 30. Dude, it was grody.
You can fix the toilet when you're 26.
Yeah.
But not... Honey, how old are you?
26.
You are 26.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just turned 26 in August.
Okay.
Getting old, dude. I'm closer to 30 now.
I know. I was going to say, because I'm 26 in December here.
Nice. That's crazy.
That's gross.
Yeah. How long have you, not to just do a harsh transition, but like, how long have you actually been cutting hair now?
At the shop, 7 years in August.
No way.
Yeah.
That's sick. Do you want to go into it a little bit?
We can.
Because I never really talked to you about hair cutting and like how you like kind of ventured there. So like, it's kind of an obscure job. Like I would say most people don't have.
It's not your typical.
Yeah.
Like I feel like there's a huge spectrum of being a barber.
Yeah.
Like I feel like you could be like a real white collar barber.
Oh yeah.
And you could be a real hood rat barber.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm kind of like a blue collar
Yeah.
barber. You know what I mean?
You're there for the working class.
Yeah. What I'm even saying, like, as a barber, like, I could, like, doll myself up every day, do, like, the classic, like, shirt and tie kind of style barber. I could go inner city, and I could do real urban style.
Yep.
Like, so, like, I feel like you can have a clientele that falls into those categories, but you can also, like, as a barber, be in any of those categories.
Yeah.
And I kind of put both my clientele and myself kind of in, like, that realm of, like, blue-collar barbering. That's gonna be the name of my memoir that I write when I retire. Blue collar barber.
That's awesome. Dude, do you know who's a hood freaking barber? Baron Barber.
Yeah.
Dude.
They're like wannabe hood, dude.
Yeah, dude. I literally
they like try so hard to be like this urban.
Dude, it's insane. I went in there right after you guys started doing schedule only. I was like, dang it, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I went in there one time. Dude's chugging a handle of Hennessy while he's giving me a haircut. And I was just like,
what
is going on? He's like, you want some? I was like, I'm good, dude.
It's 11:30, dude.
He's swinging it right out of the bottle. I was just like.
They hired like one Spanish guy and the white dude in there was like, so I can like wear a do-rag now?
Yeah.
Right?
I can put slits in my eyebrow. I was like, what? Dude, it was wild. But yeah, I came back after that. But yeah, it's a cool job to have. Like there's those certain jobs where it's like you kind of know they exist, but you don't actually really think of like, oh, I could be a barber. Yeah, I could be a barber.
Like it's not like I'm not anyone special.
Yeah.
I just picked up a pair of clippers and got good at it. You know what I mean? Like,
but like, how'd you get there? Like for me, like I became a plumber because I was broke and the opportunity kind of just fell in my lap.
Your brother said, you want a job?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, I'm so broke.
Played a lot of Mario as a kid.
Yeah, dude.
No, so kind of like yourself with your little side gig of cutting hair. I was a sophomore in high school. I was always a part of like the sound and lighting tech stuff for like productions and concerts and all that stuff. And one of my best friends was like the lead role in this play or musical, whatever it was. And I had good hair in high school, I guess.
Yeah.
Now my father's hairline is starting to show, and
dude.
so like that's a real burner.
Yep.
But like I had like long, flowy man bun. I did the undercut. Like I was always trying different stuff with my hair. I'm not gonna say all of them worked. In fact, I'll say most of them probably didn't work.
But you thought they worked.
But at
back
the time,
oh dude, it was sick.
At 16 years old,
on top of the world,
I was unbeatable. And yeah, I wish I could delete some of those pictures, but some of them I don't have access to.
Oh yeah, when you're biting that bottom lip.
Oh, God. But yeah, my buddy, he like rolls up to me. He's like, "Hey, you're like a hair guy." He's like, "Think you give me a haircut?"
Oh yeah.
And I was like, "I don't know what makes you think that like I'm your guy for this."
Yeah.
He's like, "You got good hair," and I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't do this.
Yeah, this isn't me."
And he was like, "Well, yeah, but like opening nice tomorrow, and like I don't think I'm gonna have time to get a haircut." And I was like, I mean, like this is a bad idea, and like I'm all for bad ideas, but like
this is a bad
what
idea.
if it goes wrong? And he's like, it can't go that bad. And I was like,
all right,
okay. So I did it.
Yeah.
And like I watched a YouTube video and I got like a good idea. And I tell you the hardest part was like learning the transition of like combing the hair up.
Yep.
And then putting the comb somewhere while you cut with the scissors.
Yep.
And I just like didn't know where to put it. So I would literally like comb the hair up, hold the hair with my other hand, and then I would like lay the comb on his shoulder and like rest it there and kind of balance it. And then I'd snip and then I'd pick the comb back up.
Why is that a thing? That's so funny. Because literally, for the first couple, I didn't know what to do with the comb. I would bite it. I'd put it in my mouth. I got hair in my mouth. I was like, what am I doing?
Yeah, like it's hard to know what to do. But eventually you learn how to like transition it just right. And I've even got some fun like tricks. I mean, you see the way I twirl my scissors and stuff. But like, it went okay. It wasn't a bad haircut. It wasn't a good haircut, but it wasn't a bad haircut. And I had always assumed that was the end of it. Mm-hmm. And about a month later, he was like, yo, my hair's kind of growing out. You think you can trim me up this weekend? And okay, cool. We've done it once before. It's probably only going to get better.
Yeah.
And I think my sophomore year, he was the only person whose hair I cut. But then, like, at one point, my older brother, like, up until this point, my older brother, like, my dad just, like, buzzed his head.
Yep.
And he was fine with that. But then, like, when he saw that, like, I could kind of put, like, a little bit of, like, a taper in there. Like, yeah, okay, cool. So started cutting my brother's hair, then one of my other buddies. And, like, till, say, like, midway senior year, I bet you had 10 or 15 family or friends that, you know, on a monthly, every other month would hit me up for a haircut. And then about 2 months before I graduated high school, we were coming up on senior year prom. And at the time, I had a man bun.
Yeah.
It was like down past my shoulders. I always wore it up in a bun. I thought it was cool. In hindsight, it's up for debate. But I was like, no, I'm sorry. It wasn't prom.
But the man bun was cool.
The man bun was
that's
cool.
what you were going to say.
I just wanted to talk about the man bun, actually. It had nothing to do with prom. No, it was actually, I had the man bun at the beginning of senior year.
Yeah.
And right before homecoming, I was asked by one of, like, the homecoming court girls to, like, be their escort to the dance. So I was like, since, like, I'm going to be, like, on display, like, it'd be kind of fun. Like, everyone knows me as the kid with the man bun.
Yeah.
What if I chopped it off the night before?
Yeah.
So the night before homecoming, I cut all my hair off, and everyone
Did it
was
yourself?
Like, no, I went. So I actually went
say,
to the shop that I
attaboy.
now work at Chad's, and I was like, cut it off. Mm-hmm. And that's when I first met Chad. And then I kind of started to let my hair grow out a little bit. Yep. And it was, I guess it would have been like 4 or 5 months that I let it grow out. And then when prom rolled around, I was like, you know what? I really like the way he cut it the last time. I'm going to go get it cleaned up again for prom. And while I'm having, just chatting with the barber at the time, guy I now work for, I was like, sometimes, I do some haircuts in my driveway for some of my buddies and my brother and this and that. He's like, oh, it's cool. Like, you got any pictures? And at the time, he was getting ready to close up that shop and open a bigger, better, newer shop down the street. And so, without realizing it, he was like scouting me. Yeah. Right? This was his this was his sales pitch. Yep. And I was there at the very end of the night. I was his last cut of the evening. I actually called him like, hey, I'm not going to be there till like right before you close. Like, is that going to be okay, or do you want me to come another day? And he's like, nah, just roll in here. He's like, I think I kind of remember you from before. And I rolled in. He's like, yeah, didn't I cut all your long hair off? And so like there was some rapport already built there, like getting along. And I'm telling him about these haircuts I do. I show him a couple pictures, and he's like, yeah, man, like for someone without any formal training, like not bad at all. Like, I can see where some like improvement could be done, but like this is solid work. Mm-hmm. And he's like, you ever think about like getting into this full time? And I was like, no, not really.
Slide you that card.
Yeah. And he's like, I'll tell you what, man. He's like, I know it's a shot in the dark. He's like, you're young, you got a lot of time to figure your life out. He's like, but you're 2 months from graduating. If you don't have any other plans, he's like, I'll put you in touch with the same place I went to barber school, 25 years ago. He said they're still operating. They're a great school. Yeah. Good, diverse clientele. You get a little bit of everything. He was like, if it's something you're interested in, give me a call. Stop back in. We'll set something up, make it happen. And he's like, I know. He's like, I've met you a couple times now. He's like, he's like, being a barber, it's my job to read people. Yeah. He's like, I can tell you're a good person. If you take the steps to get there, I have a chair for you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, I was like, well, I got no other real plans. So, like, it was literally like why not?
Yeah.
It wasn't something I spent a lot of time thinking about. It was just kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, give it a go. Yeah. Worst case scenario, I hate it, and I move on to something else. And so, like, 3-4 months later, it was middle of the summer. I'd signed up for this barber school he told me about, and I stopped into the shop just to chat with him and tell him, hey, I signed up for barber school. Like, what's the next year of my life look like? Like, how are we playing this out?
Yep.
And he was swamped. It was just him in the shop that day. Yep. Absolutely swamped. And I didn't need a haircut, so, like, I didn't really get a chance to, like, get on his chair and chat with him. So I was just, like, going to wait till, like, slowed up and he had a chance to chat. And I ended up sitting there for, like, 6 hours that day because it just didn't slow up. However, while I was there that day, there was a guy that kind of, like, overheard us chatting a little bit because we'd have, like, 2-3 minutes here and there in between cuts to chat. And the one guy that was sitting there, he was like, oh, are you a barber? And I was like, I'm signed up for barber school. You know, Chad was talking about maybe having me in here or whatever. And he's like, well, I'll let you cut my hair. Why don't you grab Frank's tools over there and trim me up real quick? And I was like, oh, no, like, I don't have any, like, official training. He's like, I don't care. He's like, screw it up. I'll buzz it off at home.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, this gentleman is still a customer of mine, too. He's my longest running, loyal customer.
That's awesome.
As far as at the shop goes, I guess my brother would technically be my longest running customer. But finally, end of the night rolls around. He flips the close sign. And then we just sat there and chatted for an hour. And he told me, like, go to barber school during the day. If you want to come over here in the evening and set up shop and do a couple haircuts, make a couple bucks. And it was way more demoralizing than I ever expected.
Really?
Because I kind of had this idea in my head that, like, I was going to go in there, people know I'm a barber, they were going to sit in my chair, I was going to cut their hair, and it was going to be good.
Yeah.
But, like, for one, just, like, learning how to talk to people, learning what to say, when to say it, how to ask the right questions to give them what they're looking for. Because a lot of people come in there and tell you, I think I get a 2 on the sides and a 5 on the top. Mm-hmm. And you look at their hair and they got, like, hair like yours. It's like, there's no way you had a 5 on the top of your head. And so it's like, you have to learn how to address the situation and determine if they know what they're talking about or if they need re-informed about what a 3 and a 5 is, whatever. Yeah. And on top of that, just getting someone in your chair. Because you guys would come to the shop, hey, can I help you out? I'm going to hang out for Jason. I'm going to hang out for Chad. Chad's my boy. I've been following Jason for 20 years. And then eventually there would be a guy that finally sits in your chair and they get up and they leave and they see that it was a good haircut and they're like, all right, I'll give you a shot, right? But, like, there were days that I went in there for, like, 3 hours because I would go to barber school morning to afternoon and then from late afternoon to the evening. Yeah. So I'd work there, like, 3 hours in the evening sort of as, like, an apprentice. And there were nights I went in there and I didn't do a single haircut. And that sucks because it's like I could have gotten so many other things done. I wasted my time here. And, like, now I have people, hey, can you get me in for a haircut? I'm like, in like 3 weeks. Yeah. Like, my books are, like, I'm blessed to have the business that I have.
It's awesome.
But it was literally, you want to be a barber? And I was like, yeah, okay, I guess. Yeah. And then now here I am 7 years later. Yeah. And I have more heads to cut than I have time in the day. And
that's awesome.
It is.
That's sick.
And I don't know if I'll do it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
I have nothing against it. Mm-hmm. But I'm also like, well, I mean, I took the job on a random opportunity and the same offer may come up with something else down the road. And I go, okay.
For sure.
But
did you, okay, like, my thing is, like, you're one of the more articulated people I've had on the podcast. Is that from just having to talk to people and drum up conversation, or were you decently articulated before that?
I would attribute most of it to
That's
cutting
cool.
hair.
Yeah.
I don't know that I wasn't before, but probably, and, like, I don't even know if I would have called myself articulate. I guess you could say that.
I mean, even when you... So, like, I pick up on this because now I'm trying to... I was always relatively decent at talking, but now having a podcast and, like, listening back to myself, it's like, oh, I say like a lot.
Sure.
So then when someone comes on, like...
You hear when they say like.
Yeah, and when you're thinking, you don't use a filler word of There's just silence.
Yeah.
And that's the sign of a more articulate person than someone that's like, because they're filling that space because they're uncomfortable with silence. So there it's like, not that you're like a Peterson where you're using these elaborate words, but
sure,
you can articulate what you're trying to say without.
Yeah, I would say a lot of that definitely does come with the territory. Because of the shop environment that we have, it's not always me and you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm having a conversation with you, and in between the blips of conversation I'm having with you, I'm also having a conversation with this guy back here because he hasn't been in town for 6 weeks, and you just show, hey, how you been, man? Good to see you, whatever. Like, you have to kind of be on a swivel and hear every conversation at one time while also having a conversation.
Legitimate conversation with the person in your chair.
And then there's and now that we are scheduled appointments, it's such a different environment.
Yeah.
And not for the worse, not for the better. I'd say it's kind of a neutral
change,
net zero trade-off. It's just different. But I will say there are days that I miss, Larry walks into the shop and Larry sees Joe, and they used to go to school together, and Joe's son, well, I didn't know you were coming in today. And then, there'd be times that even just, you got 10 guys in there and they're all having one conversation. And it's just I've had less than great days.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I've ever had a bad day. Yeah. And I would attribute a lot of that to my coworkers. In 7 years, I couldn't name a single time that any one of us had any type of disagreement or tiff with beef, one another. Yeah, we've just always gotten along. There's never been a reason to not get along. And that goes a long way in just maintaining a great shop environment for the customers. Because if we don't have beef with each other, there's no way tension in the air, I guess. I miss those days on a busy Saturday morning, and I'd show up a minute late, and I got kids on bankers hours this morning. Oh, here comes Skinny
Bust
Jeans,
up a little bit.
10 minutes late. Yeah. And, you know what I mean? Just everyone's busting on each other, and it's all in fun. There's no one's upset. No one cares. And that was fun for a long time. And now it's almost like I've gotten a chance now. All these people that I knew on a very surface level. Yeah. I've come to know on an even greater level that
then they invite you onto their podcast.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing too. Anytime if I was to mention your name to anyone or tell a story, oh, I know this guy used to go to Philly and pretend to be homeless for a day. I would never say, oh, I have this customer that does this. I go, my buddy Jeff. Yeah. We've never hung out outside of the barbershop. I've cut your hair 10, 12 times.
Yeah, not even that much because I let it go long.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's been a few years, but it hasn't been every other week for the last 10 years. But you just develop that rapport with people that I refer to you as my buddy, my pal Jeff. Now I keep using I'm so aware of it now.
Dude, it gets frustrating.
I was doing good until you said it.
I know.
I can't stop saying it. But no, it's just, you don't go into people's house, fix their toilet, and say, you want to do coffee on Tuesday? Yeah. But I have quite a number of customers that, if I saw them out at a coffee shop, I'd be hey, you mind if I sit down? Yeah, that's all. You know what I mean? You just develop such a unique relationship with people that you don't really get in a whole lot of other fields. Maybe in the world of sales, but even then I feel like there's still a lot of surface level because it's you're there because you want their business. Yeah. And to a degree, that's why
you do. There. Yeah, 100%. You're still there to make a living.
But it's so much different than I'm not selling anything. They needed a haircut. They're coming in for one regardless. Yes. Yeah. And my girlfriend is, I call him one of my good buddies, but it's his sister is my girlfriend.
Oh, yeah?
And I met him through the barbershop.
That's sick.
Because one day in my early days, Chad was like, yo, give my man Josh a try. And he's like, you sure he can do it? And he's like, he can do it. Mm-hmm. We've been best pals ever since. No one's cut his hair since that day that I first cut his hair. Now I'm dating his sister.
Yeah.
Happier than ever.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like I always make the comment to people when people are like, oh, man, you guys got such a good thing going on in here. I'm like, it's more than a haircut. You know what I mean? Like it is.
Yeah, it is.
I have a guy that comes in every single week on Thursday nights. To me, his haircut's easy. It takes me 12 minutes.
Every week?
Every single week.
Good for him.
He hardly needs a haircut.
Yeah.
But he likes coming into the shop and hanging out. Gets him out of the house.
Yeah.
Gets him, he runs into his buddies. Yep. Everyone knows him. And like, we have plenty of people that come in there. They get a 1.5 all the way around.
Yep.
They could do it for free in their bathroom at home.
Yeah.
But it gets them out of the house, gets them moving, and they just like the environment.
It's experience.
And it's just, I don't think of my job in that light a lot, but there are times that it comes up in conversation where it's like, I do have a cool job.
Oh, yeah, dude, 100%.
That, and it's not one you hear, like, running into people you went to high school with. Oh, what are you doing these days? Oh, I'm doing electric.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
in finance.
Yeah, finance.
Yeah, freaking, of course you are, Jerry.
Yeah. Oh. But you hit people with Barber, and they're like, "Oh,
yeah,
nice, dude. That's cool. What's that like?" You know what I mean? It's just different, and I feel like that's kind of been my life.
Yeah,
as I do things that are different because I don't want to be everyone else. I won't out myself with that one. I was about to throw in a little skill of mine that maybe I shouldn't throw out there.
Dude, whatever you want, buddy. You throw it in. I don't care.
I wanted to learn an instrument at one point, and, every frat boy douche learned how to play 3 chords on a guitar, and I was like, I'm going to learn how to play the banjo.
Yeah.
And I spent like a year getting good at the banjo, and I haven't touched it since. Yeah. But I have a couple really good videos of me ripping through Foggy Mountain Breakdown,
Dude, my wife's brother rocks the banjo.
No kidding.
Young kid. He is a computer nerd to the core, but has the funniest interest. The dude's hilarious.
Yeah.
He's cool. Like, and he rips the banjo. And he's like got all these hick friends, which is awesome. Like, he's hilarious.
Do they have like a band together?
I don't know. He's buddies with some of the guys over at at Mannheim Central. Would you know the Wagners? Like Adam Wagner?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's Adam Wagner is like a hick, and then he's he's best friends with my wife's brother.
No kidding.
Yeah, Nate Brubaker.
I know that name.
Real short kid.
How old is he?
He's in freshman in college.
Okay.
So I don't know if he would have ever came in, but yeah, I think Adam comes in with you guys.
Adam and his dad Bruce come in. Yeah.
Good old Bruce.
Kevin's been in a handful of times. Well, and I would have gone to school with them over at Mannheim.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. So, yeah, but it's hilarious. He just rips the banjo. It's like, dude, this is awesome.
Yeah, I've just always enjoyed branching off the beaten path.
For sure. And I feel like I have this very arrogant saying where it's like, most people live down here. I want to live up here.
Yeah.
And like, I understand, in the ramifications of that, it can sound like, okay, you douchebag. Yeah. But it's like, no, it's kind of true. Like, and honestly, like, obviously, I'm an extrovert. And where you kind of have like, it's cool because, yes, you can build a very good relationship with them, but you can also try stuff. You can experiment because they're in and out of your chair. So it's just like, I have you for 30 minutes and I can try things on you, and not in like this malicious way, but it's like, hey, I want to get better at talking to people, or like I want to get funnier. I'm going to try this bit on him. And like, if it takes, maybe I'll try it again and like use it. And I think there's such an interesting thing to that. And the only other job I can say that's semi like that, and even getting into the deeper, is like a bartender.
Yeah.
I would love
I could see you being
be a bartender, because it's just like, they're there. You can talk to them. It's not that, and even with you, like, it's the clippers, it's the haircut, which is that buffer item where if
it takes all the pressure off.
Exactly. If conversation slows, hey, I'm cutting your hair.
Yeah, the gap is filled. Bzzz.
Yep. And it's like, it's that perfect environment where you can, have a really meaningful conversation, try some things out, or maybe like, or at the end of the day, like, hey, maybe I'm just here to cut your hair. Yeah. Like, if that's all you want, that's fine.
There are customers that come in that you try and talk to them and they're not receptive of it, and I just cut their hair in silence.
And it's like perfect.
Yeah.
But I love that. I don't know. There's such a cool, I don't know what the right word to describe it is.
No, it is funny that you say that, though, because, like, while I do that myself, I experiment, I try things out, I come up with laugh lines that, you know, it landed one time and now I use it all the time. Guys oftentimes will make a comment, they'll be like, whew, there's an awful lot of gray on that cape, right? And I'll be like, oh, dude, that's stuck on there from the last guy.
Yeah.
I've used that line 100 times, and it lands every time.
Yeah.
Middle-aged men eat that up.
Yeah.
And then there's also bits that they happened impromptu the first time, but it just worked so well that we, as a collective group, start repeating bits.
Yeah.
And it happens unintentionally the first time, just in the moment.
Yeah.
But then, you know, you have enough conversations in a day's time. Eventually, you end up talking about that same thing again next week, next month. And I overhear Chad talking about something I overheard him talk about the last week, and I made a funny comment, and it got some laughs. So I throw that comment out there again, and it's a new crowd, new environment. Everyone laughs at it, and, you know, maybe Jason had piggybacked off of what I said, and so he throws a comment out there that he also said a couple weeks ago. And until a year goes by, we've done the bit 20 times over, but no one knows.
Yeah, because it's always a different crowd.
And I had said to a customer one time, because like this kind of like funny interaction happened, and the guy that was in my chair at the time, kind of like yourself, just a big goofy personality, he like looked at me and he goes, "That felt so rehearsed." I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Just that whole that last 5 minutes in here." He's like, "I felt like I was watching like a sitcom." And I was like, all right, I'll be honest with you, dude. We've done that bit so many times. And he's like, "Do you guys like playing that?" I was like, it happened naturally the one time, and then we just started riffing off of it and making adjustments, changing the punchline a little bit." And he's like, "That's so funny." Well, and now that he's clued in on it, there's been so many times since then that I'm like in the middle of cutting his hair and he'd be like, "That was a bit, wasn't it?" I'm like, "Yeah, it was a bit." Or something will happen and be like, "Was that a bit?" And I'm like, "No, that was the first time for that one, but we'll do it again next week." Like,
that's awesome. Yeah, it's just such a fun. Yeah, there's no really other job like it where you have honestly someone's undivided attention, because it's like they're just stuck there. Yeah. And it's like, yeah, man, I love that.
The other one that it teaches you just about life. And this one, I have a funny thing that I say to people around Christmas time that happened as a result of almost like really screwing something up.
Yeah.
So I have this kid in my chair, 6, 7 years old. And in conversation, I'm like, "Oh, did you get anything cool for Christmas?"
Yeah.
He goes, "Yeah, I got a typewriter," which was already just an outlandish thing for a 6-year-old. I was like, "Is that something you asked for?" And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "I like writing stories and I like reading a lot. And I thought it'd be fun to do it on an old typewriter." And I turned back at his mom and I was like, "Where'd you guys find a typewriter?" And she goes, "Santa brought it for him." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I almost just ruined the Santa bit for this kid." And to this day, in the shop, out of the shop, I don't care where I am, because I'm not a big believer in the whole, like, I think when you do the Santa and the Easter Bunny thing with your kids, sorry, I'm going on a tangent here, I think it kind of sets them up like, wow, if mom and dad were making that up for the last 10 years, what else is? So, like, I'm okay with doing the Santa bit, but I want my kids to know, like, hey, Santa's not real. He's just like he's like Rudolph. He's just another Christmas character that we play around with, and like, it's fun, it's exciting. We put milk and cookies out, but mom and dad are gonna eat.
Yeah, you know, we're eating that stuff.
I want them to know the truth, but I want them to still enjoy it and have fun with it. But regardless, no matter where I am, if I'm like talking to someone, I could be talking to you in private, and I'd be like, "Oh, Santa bring anything good this year?"
Yeah.
And one, it's kind of a funny thing to say. So like with kids, it's a safe thing to say.
Yeah.
And with adults, it's kind of funny.
Yeah.
So it just kind of works in every situation. But it does teach you a lot about conversing with a lot of different people. That and you learn these lines that just land. Because what's the most fun, I shouldn't say the most fun, but it's way easier to set someone up to just talk than for me to sit there and keep going, how about this?
Yeah.
Who did this? How's this going? When's this happening? Because then we're just playing yes and no. We're playing 20 questions.
Yep.
I would much rather land on that topic and then you just run with it. And one of the ones I love doing, especially with 70 and older gentlemen, is when there's a little kid in the shop, 2-3 years old, and he's sitting on mom's lap and, maybe he's fussing a little bit or whatever. And I love just hitting these older guys with, remember when yours were that age?
Yeah.
And it's such a simple prompt, but I get some of the coolest stories out of it. And I don't have to do anything. I just keep cutting their hair, and they spend the next 20 minutes telling me about their kids, their grandkids, great-grandkids, whatever. And there's no pressure on me to keep the conversation rolling. They're just, oh, yeah, my little guy, Ben, he was a riot on the barber chair. And then my second one, he always sat real good, and Barber always gave him lollipops, and they'd always want to come, even if they didn't need a haircut, because they always got a lollipop. And then they just start rolling, and that leads into all these stories and the trouble they got into, and this, that, the other, and it's just fun. Dude. Don't get me wrong, there are days that I leave the shop, and I'm so ready to get out of here.
Yeah.
But most days I walk out of there, and I kind of laugh to myself, going I just got paid for that.
Dude, it's insane. And that's honestly, thinking about it, barbershops were just the first podcast.
Yeah, kind of.
You're getting paid to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And because it's you can sit there with someone and have that conversation. It's so fun for me, and that's why I love doing this, hearing people's experiences. What are their passion about?
Have you seen that Vic Blends guy that he meets people on the streets? He's yo, you want a free haircut?
Yeah.
And he's sets up a chair on the side of the road and just tell me about your life.
Yeah.
I've actually thought that it would be cool to have a podcast where it's just me, one chair, one mirror, one customer, and it's just mic'd up.
It'd be sick.
And I just post a video.
It would honestly crush too,
just
probably.
Uncut. 30-minute conversation about life, love, whatever.
Yeah.
Just let it roll.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there'd be dud episodes.
100%.
But just, if 5 days a week I put out an episode that was just, or even if just once a week, if I just picked a random customer, was hey, you cool stepping in the back room? I'd love to have a one-on-one conversation with you for my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And just see if it takes off or not.
Literally, for this episode, I was Josh should give me a haircut. I was I'm not going to ask him to work.
Dude, we
coming
should
on.
have done that.
I know. I was that would have been sick.
That would have.
You can come back.
Yeah, we'll have a part 2.
Yeah. But no,
because we're already at
2.5.
Oh my gosh.
Dude, I'm telling you, it goes fast.
It's crazy.
But yeah, no, I love that aspect because it's just so fun and you gain so much perspective on the world.
Yeah.
And you actually learn in those conversations, you learn secondhand from those people.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's awesome.
I mean, well, I told you, that gentleman that, I would call if I needed a lawyer. When my truck got totaled a couple years ago, I called Chad. I said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to be into work tomorrow. I got a lot of crap to deal with, sorting all this stuff out. He's call Jared.
Yeah.
I was yeah. And he's call Jared. He gave me all these pointers on what to say to insurance company, what not to say, who to talk to. If these people call you, don't give them a statement. If these people call you, you are okay to give them a statement, but don't talk about this. Yeah. And just all these things that I would have never known. Yeah. Even just down to the point that I had no idea that when your car gets totaled and the insurance company goes, hey, we're going to give you $10,000 for your vehicle, that is a negotiable number.
Yeah.
And at the time, I wouldn't have known that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known that I could go, I want 12. And they would have been whoa, okay, let's do some research. Yeah. I would have just thought that they're saying, we'll give you 10 grand, take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, I guess I'll take it.
Take the
It's
10.
better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But he's like, every number is negotiable. Say this, don't. And it's just, yes, I probably could have gone to Google.
Yeah.
But there's something so much in anything. I would rather stand there and talk to someone that knows about it or call someone that I can have a back and forth with than just watch a YouTube video or just do a Google
just take
search.
the AI suggestion.
Yeah. But I have just a massive arsenal of people from every walk of life, from every career field, that it's so much fun to be in a position that like people come in there and they go, yeah, I'm looking for a guy to come do this. And I'm like, I know a guy.
Yep.
I love being the dude that knows the guy.
Dude, I know.
It's so much fun.
It's so fun. When you can set someone else up, and my biggest thing, and I get to do this a little bit with my work, but like with you, you're on a different level because you are experiencing so many people. But when you're like, dude, I know you and this guy would freaking jive.
Yeah.
And when you hook them up and they jive, it's such a cool feeling. Like, I love bringing good people together. It's so cool. And it's just like, dude, you would rock with this dude.
There was one time I had a guy in my chair, and he mentioned, like, somehow we got in a conversation. He's like, oh, yeah, my cousin's a farmer, and he's out this way. And I was like, oh, what's his name? And he tells me the name, and I was like, I think my dad knows that guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, you in a rush to get out of here? And he's like, no, not at all. And I was like, let me call him real quick. I called my dad, and I just put him on speaker. I was like, hey, I got a gentleman in my chair. I was like, you mentioned this. I was like, you know him, don't you? And he's like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And, his wife's second cousin, sister's my cousin, blah. Somehow and like here, my dad and this guy ended up being like fourth cousins or whatever. Never knew each other existed. And I had to like eventually like be like, all right, Dad, get off the phone because I got other people waiting. Yeah. But like, I'll bet you they talked for 40 minutes. And I couldn't cut his hair because the clippers they wouldn't be able to hear each other talk. But it was just like this wild moment where he mentioned a name, and I was like, I think my dad knows. And next thing you know, they're having a 40-minute conversation. Well, you would have remembered Sally Ann from down at the whatever. And it just, all I can say is it's fun. Dude. There are days and there are customers that I'm like, I don't like you that much.
You're not that fun. But that's any work.
Yeah. I'm 100%. Sure you have days wrenching on toilets that you're like, that was a good day, and there's other days that you walk home covered in shit. And
it's like, oh, I hate that customer. Yeah. Dude, And I think that's what the coolest thing, the networking. Yeah. And not networking to be like, I got to know all these people so I have one up on people, but genuine networking where, like, this just happened 2 days ago, yesterday. A buddy of mine calls me, he's like, dude, my sink's leaking. 100%. Like, yeah, you knew who to call. Like, I'm coming down today.
Is this someone you knew already? Or?
Yeah, but it's just like, we made the connection, and it's like, yeah, like, I will 100% come down, help you out. And I love helping people out, and I love, like, having that guy where it's like, dude, I'm kind of in a pickle. Or like, yeah, no, I know a guy. Or like, yep, I'll come and help you out. Like,
well, that's like one of my favorite moments in terms of like haircuts themselves is when you get a guy that's never been in your chair before, and he tells you like, I always tell barbers this, and they always do this, and it's never this. And like, when you can tell they've never had a haircut that's like been
crushed. And then you crush it, and they're like, oh man, this is, that's, that looks great, dude. You know what I mean? Like, they keep doing that little like, oh dang,
they gotta see it.
Why do we all do that? Oh frick, yeah. You're just feeling yourself.
It's such a cool thing to like give them something they've been chasing and never caught up to, and like, I say it selfishly and arrogantly, but like when I can be the person to like put that in their hands,
for sure,
that is such a win.
Yeah, it's such a cool feeling.
Or I'll tell you what, probably one of the most like heartwarming moments for me was I had this little kid. His name was Jack, and his mom brought him in, and you could tell that like she was just anxious and nervous.
Yeah,
and he might have been like 6 or 7, and he was like a high functioning autistic.
Okay.
And the mom, she kind of like walks up to me and she goes, listen, like, hey, this is my son, his Jack. He's high functioning autism. He doesn't sit very well. He's very tactile sensitive. He doesn't like the buzzing of the clippers. Like, if you think you can do it, great. She's like, but if you want, if you'd rather me go elsewhere, like, say the word. We don't seem to have a lot of luck with getting haircuts. And like, that was like, bring on the challenge. Yeah. I'm going to change this kid's life. And at the time we were still walking. So like, I wasn't really on a time crunch. And I was like, I'm going to take whatever time it needs. And I'm going to like make it happen. Right. And he had this tablet in his hand. He was playing some game and he had no problem like getting up on the chair and sitting down. But like before I even put the cape on, I just spent like 10 minutes just like goofing off with him. Like, oh, what are you doing in this game? And he had some game and he was like stacking gnomes on top of each other. And I didn't know what was going on. But he was like, and then you can't put the gnomes over here because if you put the gnomes on there, this will fall over. Yeah. And then I like touched his screen. And I did exactly what he told me not to do. And he was like, no, you weren't supposed to do that. And he was like giggling. And I was like, oh, I got you. And like just back and forth and like giggling and laughing. And I was just playing with him. I wasn't trying to give him a haircut. Yeah. Because like I figured most people were probably like, all right, get the cape on him, tie him down, rip the hair off his head. Right. And I was like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this work. And so then like, I'm still like kind of goofing off with him. And I'm like slowly kind of like slipping the cape underneath of him. And the whole time I was like doing that, I kind of just had a comb in my hair. And like every couple minutes I'd like just kind of like brush his hair a little bit and just kind of like get him like warm him up. Yeah. And then I kind of did most of it with the scissors just to like kind of keep it quieter. Then like I kept distracting because my thought was, he's at level 100. Yeah. And most barbers or stylists were probably trying to go down to level 20. It's okay. We're going to be calm. Yeah. We're going to do this. And I was like, it doesn't work that way. I went to 200 and I made myself so over the top outlandish that like his brain was just totally like distracted. Like I met him at his level. Going on. Yeah. Because everyone else tries to calm him down. I didn't try. I let him be crazy and I just matched his crazy and then some. Until I was like done with the haircut, I like looked back and his mom was like crying. And like, I like go to take the cape off. I was like, Jack, what do you think of your haircut? And he's like, when did you cut my hair? Yeah. He had no idea I was doing anything. And his mom, she's like, I cannot thank you enough. She's like, and like, dude, like such just like I wanted to cry in that moment. Cause like, it was so cool. Cause like awesome. She walked in there like, ready to be embarrassed because her son was freaking out, like to the point that she said, if you don't want me here, send me away. Yeah. And so like to have her just like, and like I cut his hair maybe 3 or 4 times after that, and then COVID happened and I didn't really see him again. But those are the days that like you just walk away like there's good in this world. Yep. Yeah, this is it. My life is complete. Like, dude, he was such a sweet kid, and it was, oh my gosh, dude, I tell that story all the time because it was just, it's such a memorable moment.
Oh, dude, yeah. Mountaintop freaking experience. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, I think, with barbers is you can go to a barber, never meet the dude before, and they're, for whatever weird, twisted reason, there's an instant trust. They're telling you things that they haven't. Like, literally, you, other than me and my wife, you were the first one. Because it just so happened that we found out we were pregnant, and I like came into the shop for a haircut, and like you knew before my family.
Oh, really?
That
I don't know if I knew pregnant. I was the first one to know.
Yeah, I think we told like maybe 2 other people, but it's like, yeah, you knew before most of my family knew, and it's like there is a like they'll just spill their guts.
I've never looked into this, but just on like my own understanding of the human psyche. I feel like what it comes down to is you're in a professional environment. They are trusting you as a professional to do them right in terms of their hair. And their hair being, I could ruin your life for a month. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I could also make your life great for a month. So it's like there is an immediate level of trust happened in a physical manner because you are trusting me that when you walk out of this door, you will like the way you look. You will be well presented to other people. whether you're in blue collar, white collar, don't matter. Appearance matters to people.
Yeah, for sure.
Be it shallow or not, doesn't matter. And so immediately, there's a sense of trust.
Mm-hmm.
And I think subconsciously, people extend that beyond than just the physical action of cutting their hair and making them look good.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think their brain just kind of clicks over like, well, if I can trust this guy to make me look good, I can trust him to tell him this thing about my life. Yeah. And then when I respond well, then they continue to realize. Like, I think it's a very subconscious thing.
Yeah.
That because, like, if you didn't trust me, you wouldn't sit in my chair.
Yeah.
So the brain is just like, well, if I can trust this guy with this, we're cool.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to how you present yourself, too.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I wasn't telling that dude with the handle of Hennessy anything about me.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like, all right, like, no. You can cut my hair, but you're not knowing about my life.
That, and then over time, you start to build rapport with people that... I had a customer in the other day, and, like, I don't even know how I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
But we were talking about something. He's like, we're headed to the beach this weekend. And I was like, well, you always do. Well, this is like back in the summertime. He's like, we're going to head down to the shore this weekend. And I was like, well, which trip is this? I was like, I thought you always have your sibling trip in October, right? And he's like, he looked at me and he's like, what? He's like, how do you remember that? And I was like, remember what? He's like, well, yeah, I take like a trip with all my siblings. And this guy's like 60.
Yeah.
Probably not. He's probably 50. But he gets together with all of his siblings and their spouses and their kids, and they do a big beach trip in October. I don't know why I remembered it, but it was just in my head. So when he said they were going to the beach and it was the middle of summertime, I was like, well, if you have that trip coming up, what's this trip?
Yeah.
But he was just like baffled that like whatever he mattered enough that I remembered this obscure detail about his vacation preferences. And he's like, I don't know how you do that, man. Do what? He's like, how do you even remember when I was like, I don't know, man. Like, I just got a Rolodex in my head.
It happened. And I think even too, I don't know if this would impact like the trust thing, but it's probably someone where they don't know a ton of people you know, and even if they do, they're not in a setting that they can gossip about you. Yeah. So it's just like, no, this is a very, like, overall the barbershop is just a very safe place.
Yeah. Well, and it pays off too, because like that same gentleman with the whole beach thing, he works for a lumber yard. I needed to pick up some stuff to do some projects around the house. And I guess they had like different classes of pricing based on government jobs.
Gotcha. Yep.
Commercial, residential, whatever. And he gave, I think he called it like class 6 or whatever. But it's basically the cheapest they're allowed to sell lumber for, because he didn't have the stuff I needed at the one location. He's like, you'll have to go to this location. Just make sure you take that invoice I quoted you on. I was like, oh, are they not able to like pull that up in the system? He goes, well, he said if they pull it up in their system, he said you're going to get a very different price. And I was like, oh,
that's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even realize he had done that for me, but you know, it's just little things like that like, I don't remember when he takes his beach trip because I'm trying to get freebies out of it. It's just
a benefit.
Part of me, I care about my customers and I try to remember as much as I can. And I know that goes a long way in making them enjoy their time there and their service that they get out of it. And even just like, this guy comes in. I call him Grandpa Dave. And he's basically my adopted grandpa. Yeah. Nicest man around. Would give you the shirt off his back. Yeah. And I cut his hair for the first time pretty early on when I started the shop. And when he left, I saw his glasses were sitting there. And I like ran out the door, couldn't see him anywhere. So I was like, you know what? Wrote Dave's glasses on a Post-it note, wrapped it around the glasses, and set it down.
Yeah.
A couple months later, he walks back in the shop. I was like, I got something for you. He was like, what's that? And I handed him his glasses. He's like, I already bought a new pair. He's like, I spent 2 days, retracing my steps. I don't even think to come back in. Thank you for keeping those for me, whatever. And then down the road at some point, he made the comment to me. He's like, Josh, I've spent my whole life in sales. Because I forget how it came up in conversation, but he was telling me, like, he's like, you know why I continue to come back to you to cut my hair. And I was like, I mean, I just assumed you liked your haircut, but I figure we get along well, blah blah blah. And like he'll always like book my 11:30 haircuts and then, like take me to lunch afterwards, and we just sit and chat, whatever.
That's sick.
But he was like, no, he's like, the reason I come back to you, he goes, since the day you cut my hair the first time, he goes, I've not let anyone else touch my hair, and he goes, or no, I think I asked him, he was like, or he asked me if I knew why he keeps coming back. I was like, I don't know, because I saved your glasses for you or whatever. And he goes, kind of, but it wasn't the glasses. He goes, when you handed me my glasses, there was a Post-it note on them that said Dave's glasses. And he goes, it didn't say, old bald guy's glasses. It didn't say, goofy golf outfit guy's glasses. It said Dave's glasses. He goes, I told you my name one time and you remembered it. And he goes, I spent my whole life in the world of sales. And he goes, a name means something. He goes, the fact that I mattered enough to you that you just knew my name. He goes, I said, this is the guy. Yeah. And like I said, like I try to pay for lunch. He never lets me. He's just always, it is, I keep going back to it. It's a fun job. It's a cool job.
It is.
And like we said, I like that it's different.
Yeah. And that's the thing too, like just being authentic. It makes such a difference because like I love networking with people because I just truly am interested in their stories. But if you're just trying to network for the fact of knowing important people,
getting ahead,
people sniff that out so
my
quick.
Gosh.
And they're like, dude, you're just a freaking like, that stereotypic like cheap car salesman. Like, dude, you're just trying to know people and flaunt that. But it's like when you actually, genuinely care and just put a hair forth of effort of like, hey, like, dude, it's good to see you again. Like, remember that one thing of the last conversation. And it's like, oh, like instantly it's like, oh, he cares. It's like, yeah, you're right. I do. And like, I'm interested. But that pays off. Like, you're not really, like you said, I'm not expecting to get all these things. It pays off dividends.
Yeah.
And it's such a fun process. Like, that's the point. It's so fun because it's like, hey, like, I need some lumber. Dude, I got you. And then at some point they're like, hey, I'm looking for this. And you're like, dude, I know this other guy. It's just this awesome web of beautiful experiences. Yeah. It's so fun.
Well, that's exactly like you said. Chad is good pals with Matt Nagy, coach of Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
And Chad said Nagy tells him all the time that, like, people will, that he went to high school with, message him on Facebook. Hey, man, let me get some tickets. Or, hey, man, you got any hookups? Can I get this autographed? And he's like, I don't even respond to it. Chad, every other week, just goes, hope you're doing well, man. Call me if you need anything. Can't wait to see you this summer. Because I usually get together, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, just friendly conversation. Doesn't expect a response because he knows he's swamped all the time. Nagy sends him tickets, sends him jerseys, sends him autographs. He got to go down on the field for a game.
That's
like
sick.
Chad never asked for any of it.
No, it's
he
just
reminded him, hey, I'm here. You need anything. Everyone that asked for it, they didn't get nothing.
No. Because it's like, dude, because you can smell out so fast. It's like you're only doing this because you want something from it.
Yeah.
And it's like, and honestly, I didn't really think of this before, but it's like being genuine, you're also wanting something from them, but it's nothing material. It's like, I want a relationship. Like, I want to be your guy. Like, I want to be, like, if you want a haircut,
certain people out there that are like, I'm sure you've met people in your life that, like, one interaction and you're like, man, I want to be friends with that guy.
It just,
that guy was so
electric.
cool. That guy was so just like, people always use like, oh, they're so down to earth. But like, you meet guys that are like down to earth.
Yeah.
And it's
freaking
like,
salt of the earth.
I want to be pals with that guy. That
just
guy
an instant rapport.
Plays with a hacky sack.
Yeah. It's like, dude, that's freaking sick. Yeah, no. And there's certain people. So my one buddy, Patrick Finley, he went to Grove City, like a college dude. He is one of the best people I know for just like having the coolest relationships.
Yeah.
And it's just like, dude, I love like And all of his friends, I just instantly jive with.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're all so opening and it's so sick. Like, literally, and I was literally thinking of messaging this kid. He introduced me to one of his buddies that lives out in Colorado. And he's like, dude, like, we jived instantly. He's like, dude, if you ever want to come out to Colorado, like, you hit me up. We're going to go, like, we'll do backpacking. Like, we'll go camping. And I was like, that's so cool. Yeah. Like, I love that instantly. It's like,
I had a customer do that very thing just through some networking connections. He had made comment to someone like, "Oh, I'd love to go see New Zealand sometime." Mm-hmm. The guy was like, "Oh yeah, I got like an aunt or a sister, whatever it was. Like, you ever go there? You know, let me know. Mm-hmm. I'll put you in contact with her." And you know how sometimes people say like, "Oh, you ever want to get out fishing? You know, I'll take you out on my boat sometime." And like people say that stuff, and you never know if they like really mean it or if they're just like being cordial.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You know what? I'm gonna give this one a shot." And he said, "Hey, I'd love to have that contact. You know, we'd love to go to New Zealand." And she was like, he reached out and said, "Hey, I know so-and-so. Oh, yeah, you told me you'd be calling me, whatever. And when he coming, blah, blah, blah." She goes, "Great." She goes, "Well, don't book a hotel. You know, I've got a place with a guest room, blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't want nothing. Just you got to stay there for free." She showed him around, had a private tour guide, cooked meals for him. So, like, he only had to pay for food if he wanted to, like, go out and try food somewhere. But fed him, housed him, all this stuff. And he was like, it was the coolest thing. Like,
it's incredible.
Like, I met her kids, like, just playing. Their kids are telling me these stories of kangaroos, just wild stuff. Yeah. Because he took a chance that this guy was being genuine. That like, hey, hit my sister up, like, but it's like you said, when you don't want and don't seek for the materialistic things, and you just seek out the relationship. And it's kind of what we're talking about with being a dad, being a husband, all that type of stuff. When the relationship at its core is the goal, and that's the seed you want to fertilize, nothing else really matters.
No. And that's why, like, there is the people that reach out just for the tickets.
Yeah.
It's like, do you really think you're going to, like, when you actually look at it logically, it's like, yeah, no, I want to take the person that, like, hey, if I have free tickets, I'm not going to take it to the sucker that just wants my tickets. But if this guy truly cares about me and I jive with him, 100% I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
It's like, because I want to do that for him.
You'll sooner take the dude that called you to fix his toilet.
Yes. And it's just like, yeah, 100%. And because even sometimes, and we're all human, like, we can sometimes even naturally go towards that bend of like, well, it would be sick to network with this guy because he knows someone else. Yeah. And it's like, but no, when you like strip it down and just think about it, it's like, yeah, of course. Like, why wouldn't I want to do these? If I have the opportunity to bless the people around me that are actually truly caring about me, that is so fun. Yeah. And it's just like, dude, it's a blast. And I want to be that person in New Zealand where it's like, now obviously this isn't New Zealand, but like, yeah, come to my house. Like, stay here. Because you literally get someone for like a blip and you get to experience life with them. But generally, if they're a relatively decent human, you kind of have a friend for life.
Yeah.
And not that it's like you're seeing each other every weekend or anything, but you know it's like, hey, if I call them up and I want to go out to like wherever they are, or if they want to come in here, I'll kind of shift my stuff around.
Yeah.
To make that happen. Because it's just so cool. And it's like, yeah, an experience that you wouldn't otherwise get.
Yeah.
I don't know. I freaking love that.
You know, I'd even say the same thing like, you know, most times you don't book an appointment.
Yeah.
You just shoot me a text and go, hey, you got anything open today? And I'll like call this guy and say like, hey, can you come a half hour late? And I'll just, because Jeff wants a haircut. Yeah. I want to see Jeff. Heck yeah. Let's move people around, make this happen. Because it's exciting for me when, you know, we hit it off the first time I cut your hair, and I like when I get the chance to run in and chat with you. And
now you're my guy.
Now we have a 4-hour podcast of conversation.
Oh, dude,
how many episodes have you done now?
This will be 21.
Has there been any episodes that like you get to the end, you're like, I can't post this? Like, has there been anything that you're just like,
no, not yet. Because generally, like, I haven't had anyone like super wild on yet. where it's just like, holy
things got out of hand.
Yeah. But yeah, and honestly, I think it would take a lot for me not to post it.
Yeah.
The thing about it is, now that you said that, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent. People listen to this, which is wild to me, and I love it, but it's like really sobering.
Yeah.
It's like, you just listened. I just took 2 hours of your day.
Yeah.
You gave me your attention.
Does it tell you like where people are located that are listening?
Yeah.
How many are like you're assuming as friends and family because it's local? Like,
so
have you gotten like someone in California listening? Or like,
oh yeah, dude. There's a dude in Dubai that listens.
Nuh-uh.
So literally, this it didn't piss me off. It was hilarious. Did a shirt giveaway. First time I did a shirt giveaway, and I was like, hey, if you guys are listening, comment on the video. I'm gonna do a thing where I'll put you guys in a bracket. You can compete for a shirt.
Yeah.
I knew everyone on the list except for 2 people. They were the 2 people that made it to the finals, and this dude won. So I commented back, and I was like, hey, man, like, you won the shirt. Email me your address so I can send you the shirt.
And it was in Dubai.
And he sent me this Dubai address, and I was like, A, how'd you freaking hear about this? B, why the nuts are you in Dubai? The shipping was more than the shirt.
How much did it cost to ship it?
$38.
That's unbelievable.
I had to ship this guy a shirt. And that was like our 4th, no, it might have been like our 6th episode.
That's
like,
like so funny.
Dude, yeah, it ended up being like $80 for this shirt. And I'm like, I ain't making nothing off of this. But it's like, dude, we got a listener in Dubai.
That
like,
is crazy.
Hilarious. And I was like,
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of Jersey people.
Okay.
Well, not like a lot. Obviously, I don't have a large audience, but there's because you can see on Spotify like cities, like the percentage of where your listeners are, and I think like 20%'s in Jersey.
That is so funny the way it reaches.
I know. It's like, how did you hear about this? There's a lady. I don't know if she's a lady. I'm assuming by her YouTube handle, which it's so funny because I don't think I know her, and she's the one that called me out. Like, we need more episodes. Like, you didn't post. Did I tell you about this?
No.
So I didn't post for 2 weeks because I was just being a lazy piece of garbage. And she comments on my YouTube video, and she's like, where are these episodes? We need this. And it was such like a surreal moment where it's like,
people are desiring.
Yeah, like people want. It's very humbling, and it's like very sobering because it's like, whoa, like people are listening and they seem to like this, which is wildly cool to me. And I'm just like, okay, like I need to do good by these people.
Yeah.
And that's why I want to like keep producing better quality, because it's, if you are going to tune in for me, even for 10 minutes, like I took 10 minutes of your day. I want the time you have here or in that platform to be worth it.
Yeah.
And I think if a conversation just wouldn't, like, if it would just be super unbeneficial, I would be quicker not to post that than if some guy goes bonkers.
Gotcha.
Because it's like, there's probably value in that, but if it's just, you're not getting anything out of, then it's like, okay, I don't want to waste people's time. And not that I like want to offend the person. Like, hey, I want to do right by my guests as well. Like, if they're coming on, I really appreciate that because I couldn't do it without them. And yeah, they're coming on, they're spending their time, and like, they wouldn't have to be on this. And yeah, it's a weird thing, but it's so fascinating.
So you've talked about Dawson multiple times. I've never met the guy, but I've seen.
Yeah, you did. Dawson was in my wedding. You would have cut his hair. Dawson's the freaking bomb.com. Tall guy, coarse, curly-ish hair, like real wavy.
Him. Okay, he looked super familiar when I've seen him in the reels, but I don't remember cutting his hair for your wedding.
Yeah, he would have been there.
Okay. I don't know if he's like this friend in the friend group, and maybe he is. But like when I see him pop up in like the videos and stuff like that, I feel like everyone friend group has one of these. But he is unfairly handsome.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, dude. Dude, yeah.
And as a straight male, I say that with confidence and just respect to the man.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you can tell.
Yeah, he's
like,
the dude.
He's just.
Freaking unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, tall, great hair, thick as a
scruffy, just masculine. And like I saw him pop up. I remember you telling me, "Oh yeah, Dawson and I started this podcast," and I see him pop up, and I'm like, "Man, that's not fair."
Mm-hmm.
Some guys just get it. There's a police officer that comes into the barber shop, and he's just like beefy guy, perfect hairline, got that 5 o'clock shadow rolling. Like you can tell, he knows he looks good.
Yeah,
but he doesn't care if you know it. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't wear it arrogantly.
Nope.
And I said something to him the one time. I was like, "Dude, I got a question for you." He's like, "What's up?" I was like, "What is it like waking up in the morning with just a perfect hairline?"
Yeah.
He's like, "It's pretty great, dude. I'm not gonna lie." And I was like, "I'll bet it is. It looks awesome."
Yeah.
He's like, "Thanks, man."
Yeah. No, yeah, Dawson, freaking phenomenal hair. Just thick and like no product, perfect.
Just wakes up as good all the time.
It's like wild, but in a tame way.
Yeah. It's like a lion.
Yeah, dude. No, he's great. Dawson's a rock solid guy.
Yeah.
He's awesome. Yeah, he was gonna come on tonight, and then he's like, "I don't really know your barber." And I was like, "Dude, you should anyways." So if you ever
cut his hair before,
yeah,
apparently we do know each other.
But yeah, if you come on again, dude, he'll 100% be here.
Text me anytime.
Dude,
if I got nothing going on, I'll come on as many times as you want.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Okay. We need to take a break before we do that because I need a pee, and if I get nailed with that, I will pee my pants. I've literally been sweating for the past 20 minutes.
One more time here, you know. Oh, so good.
Because I've just been looking over at that, and I was like, I know this is coming at some point, and I really have to go to the bathroom, and I'm just so scared. So yeah, let me go to the bathroom, and then I will build up the courage to let you nail me with that thing.
We don't need to keep saying that I'm gonna nail you with it.
Yeah, well, you don't got to be gay about it.
You made it that way.
Talking about handsome men.
I did start that one.
But all right, let me go to the bathroom.
The anticipation of it is way worse, I think.
Frick. Yeah, piss it. Let's freaking do this.
Did you start the camera?
Yeah, we're rolling. Should I kneel down so I don't fall?
I don't know. It might be funnier if you fall. Do you want it on the arm, on the leg?
Yeah, right on. Oh.
Well, you better stand this way. Now both camera angles see it. How do you want it? Arm, leg, skin?
Hit me there.
Right here?
Yeah. I'm so scared.
Do you want me to hit it and hold it, or you just want me to blip it?
Nah, hit it and hold it for a hair, but not.
Okay. Oh. Or do you want me to get it going and then bring it to you?
No. Oh. You just hit me whenever you want.
I'm gonna hold it there.
Oh, frick. There's nights I would have peed. Oh, I would have peed.
It's like, it's weird.
Yeah,
it's not what you
All right, hit me again. And then I hold it for a little longer. It's so weird. Oh. The bark is worse than the bite, though.
Do you want to feel it on the leg?
No, I feel like the legs would be less sensitive.
I don't know. I feel like it kind of makes you twitch real
Oh, yeah. Hit me on. Oh, no.
You're right in the quad muscle.
I'm so scared. I know, I'm so scared. Okay. Oh, that was worse.
Your wife is gonna be like, what was going on?
It was much worse. All right, let me shock you.
No, I've done it. You took it way more of a chance than I did. I blipped it so that I can say that I've done it.
Yeah, dude, your whole muscle doesn't.
It locks, dude. It's wild.
Oh.